Okay.
All right. Budget workshop called order. Doug, Jim, somebody?
All right, good morning, Mr. Mayor and Council. Today we're going to do our first budget presentation. With me today I have the department heads that are going to be here to provide presentations for their respective departments. We're going to go over items that we have currently, challenges that we've made, are faced, things that we've done well, things that we have problems with, things that we could use your help with in the future. And we're going to identify those from a 30,000 foot look so that you guys can take it all in for the first time. Make any comments related to the budget as we go through it or however you deem necessary. And then hopefully get to a point where at the end of this presentation, we have direction from you to bring anything back for changes or clarification or updates in that at the next meeting. So with that, I'm ready to start if you are. We were having a little bit of issue with the PowerPoint changing screens there. We've got our IT director on the job over there.
Obviously not doing very good.
All right, so we're ready. We're up. Nice job, Julie. Thank you all. All right, so in front of you, you have a hard copy of the presentation that's on the screen. We also have it so that the public can see it there as well on the screen. We have a hard copy also of the budget with changes in it and questions that you guys may have throughout this process for clarification or individual line item details. So depending on how you guys want to take after it, I'd like to get the ball going with the presentation of the first slide. All right. Great news. Property values are soaring. As you're well aware, the property appraiser got us the report back, and I do have Debbie on the line for any clarification questions accounting wise. She'll keep us all in line, and she's done a great job with me so far. So, general fund property tax revenue. So this year, the 23 property tax values came in at $535,645,519. This represents a approximately $126.828 million increase, or 31% over 2022. That's a tremendous increase, unprecedented from where you've come from. It's well worth the wait. So that produces a large dollar value related to that to our general fund. So on the second slide, I'm going to show you where the previous 5 years, including this coming year, so there's 4 previous years and the next year, they show the property values and how it changed, and then the net change from the prior year. So the triple digit change this year is amazing compared to where we were in 2022. Representative of that $126 million change was $20 million of new construction. So if you start thinking about the math and the process that we're building the 216 apartment complex over there, it's got to be $80 million worth of buildings that are coming. So we are nowhere near a spot where it looks like it's going to slow down for Mexico Beach. So we have to start thinking about the future and how we maintain more of a thriving atmosphere as opposed to a surviving atmosphere that we've done for the last 3.5 years to get to this point. So the next slide represents anticipated versus actual revenues. You can see the major changes. The one glaring change that you see that pokes out to you is the negative $25,000 in the 2022 anticipated revenue. That has solely to do with the change, and Debbie, correct me if I misspeak, but where you lowered the millage from 8 to 7 that year, and it decreased the amount of dollar figures that you took in. However, we do have fund balance after the end of this year that would be there to be available for that. So, Debbie, is there anything you'd like to explain about that $25,000, or did I hit it?
No, it's just when we went back, we did a little bit below the rollback rate, so that represents that $25,000 deficit.
All right, so you can see the property value, $3.5 million, which is a net change to the general fund of $843,000. So as it's increased over the years, that's where we stand. I've built this budget based on a flat millage rate with no increase or decrease at 7 mills.
No, excuse me.
Yes, sir.
net change from prior year, 843,408. Are you just subtracting 22 anticipated from 23 requested?
Debbie, that represents the 95% number. Go ahead.
Yeah, so for every year, the net change is added to the next year. So 2.197 is 372,000 more than the 2018, and it goes up there, so.
So
So
the net,
in 2023, we're $843,000 more than 2022.
if the millage rate is the same with the property value increase.
Right,
Correct.
right, at 7 mils.
We're getting $843,000
More.
more, same millage, just
Right.
because of the assessment. That's all that number represents. Okay,
Exactly.
okay, I'm with you. I'm with you.
All right, the next slide. So I'm going to get into the general fund. We'll do enterprise funds completely separate towards the end. The first fund will be the general fund. And if I do anything out of order that you guys are used to, just please correct me for it so I know in the next time. But it's the first time presenting this to you guys. So with the taxes underneath revenues, the proposed millage rate, as I mentioned a second ago, I propose it to stay the same, flat for 2023. So the millage rate based on that. I built the budget around that 7 mils, so we could alter it however you guys deem necessary. So again, $843,000 was the change, the net change. Some other increases from revenue that we're anticipating, going down the list, ARPA. So we received $278,000 this past year, as we're aware. We expect to get the other half of that payment that we get. So that was based on population from 2018, which sucks. But we get that money based on that population. And 2019, excuse me. And the ARPA money comes in at $278,000. So we expect to anticipate those revenues, so we don't have to do a budget then later on. So we're anticipating those revenues. We expect to get that this year. The next one is a forestry matching grant for $30,000. I'll explain more on that in a few minutes. The fire services is going to work on a grant for $6,300. There's a coastal partnership grant that I'll go into for some kayak launches for $30,000. Parks and Recreation impact fees to help cover some of those kayak launches because they're new parks will be $30,000 for discussion. Fire ESU impact fees for PPE for the firefighters will be a matching $3,000. Donations from Duke Energy that I anticipate based on prior year receiving that I'm going to ask for related to pickleball for some courts or something of that nature because it was requested at a meeting. So I'll go about that later. Transfer in the paving maintenance fund, approximately $850,000, $880,000 in the paving and maintenance fund. That's a designated fund that you guys have to use for that. We've utilized all the FEMA dollars related to paving and maintenance. So we need to start thinking about going forward, which you have to kind of, in my opinion, you have to front load it a little bit to fix some of the, the cuts on the streets. I anticipate that if this goes through, we would bid out a paving and maintenance contract to a vendor who would fix any cuts or potholes or things that we'd have in the street based on a dollar figure that they say they fix how much ever square foot. So we would bid that out as opposed to Tommy and his staff buying permapatch and fixing it internally, which hasn't really shown to last. So that's my recommendation. We can alter that going forward. So there's also the transfers from canal funds for the dredge hose to utilize some of those funds in that designated fund of $7,500. And also a 3% increase was used to forecast for state of Florida revenues. Those are just the kind of overview of additional revenues and the tax money that we were receiving coming in. The next slide.
Whoa.
Yes, sir.
Whoa, man.
Okay.
Other revenue increases. You're projecting these, how are they fit, do they fit into this budget in any way?
Yes, sir. Generally, they're matching funds, so the funds that the city would have to expense out are listed inside of there in the budget as well. So we're recognizing the grants that we're anticipating, and if we don't anticipate them, we would deduct it from the revenues. Or you guys say, I don't want to do
Are
that
they
grant.
part of are they spread out? Are these monies under other projected increased revenues? Are they spread out in your budget?
They are, yes, sir, in between each department. That would be responsible for each one of them. The designated funds would be the 278. That would go into a designated fund account. There's not any money.
Debbie, I've never seen where we project money and have it spread out in the budget. Now, I've never seen that. Have you, Debbie?
We've applied for, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay. Yeah, so if we were to apply for it, we've always put it in the budget previously. If we're going to apply for it, the expectation is that we're getting it. And there's a matching, revenue or expense associated with it, so it's kind of a wash. If we don't get it, then there's no impact to the, budget. It's a zero.
It also comes back to you to decide that's what we want to spend it.
So am I gonna see then, that these are gonna be actual line items in the budget? They aren't gonna be
Right.
spread
Yeah,
out,
I mean,
Oh, I understand, yes.
they aren't gonna be spread out for department use.
right, so for the coastal partnership initiative for the kayak launch, you'll see a $60,000 expense in Parks and Rec.
There are additional revenues other than categorized revenues, right?
Right. They're one time for one purpose.
Right, other than a category of revenue.
Okay. And as in any grant, before we would spend it, it would come to you for approval if that's what you wanted to do. So I'm projecting to get these grants. If I get it, I don't know. But that's what I think we'll get.
Okay, if it's a one-time, one-use deal, that makes sense to me. That's,
Okay.
We used
Yeah.
to list them on the bottom under capital.
that's right. That's right. Okay, just a different way of presenting it. Okay, I'm with you. Go ahead.
All right, so
I'm good.
okay. So I just wanted to highlight a little bit about the Coastal Partnership Initiative grant. This week, you can get up to $60,000 for this matching, so free, 50% free for what we want to do. There's been a request for a lot of fishermen that do canal kayaking and stuff of that nature out in the ocean, and having a dedicated spot for those folks to launch from as opposed to the ramp or pushing it through the sand or something like that. It might be a good tourism attraction. So I've worked on a grant with some folks to get the grant submitted. We're working with the school. One of the colleges is helping us to kind of write the grants a little bit. They're doing it as a free service to us, so it's a good help. It's a contact with the DEP who oversees that project. So this is the scheme of it, of where the two options. We've talked about one at Parker Park. It's some kayak parking. There's an option to do one at a marina slip that doesn't have a whole lot of use. It could be moved just kind of this ballpark where it's at. You can see there. All that would come back to you once it gets further down the road. The next page is the Florida Urban Community Forestry Grant. So this grant goes along with what we're trying to do to become a tree city and include and help with our water table. This grant is also a total of $60,000. It would be $30,000 from the Florida Urban or the UCF fund, and then $30,000 would be the city's contribution. I proposed two different projects. One would be under the Palms Park, replacing a lot of the trees and vegetation around the outside of that park to kind of protect the park and screen the homes on either side of it a little bit, so that it would be kind of get back to the way it was before the storm with tree coverage in that area in that park. So the other one that we're proposing is Florida Avenue. Florida Avenue could be, I think it could be amazing down the middle where we have those medians, some kind of palms or some kind of trees or flowering trees or something of that nature. So I'd like to bring that back to you guys for the future if I can get some money for that. You do have to buy well substantiated trees. You can't just buy the seedlings. You have to buy a good 3 or 4 inch trees. So I think that money could go a long way based on what we spent on 8th Street Canal and what we got in front of Parker Park there. We spent $12,000 of grant money to get all that. And that's a lot of trees. That was 150 trees, Tom. 150 trees. So I think we could do some amazing things with these if we get it. But then, of course, that'll come back to you. So that's just the two options on those grants, helping us move forward to be our tree city. Any questions so far on grants? All right. The next slide moves into personnel. So the citywide change would be something spoke about earlier today. So one thing that we did do in the meantime, I've been working on since I got here, was an upgraded job description and personnel policy plan. So my plan is to bring this back for resolution for you all to review, to see the pay bands that was discussed earlier. We've put them all in. The one I was working with from 2016 had $9 an hour on it, starting salary, and that minimum wage is 10. It'll be 11 in October, and so we've upgraded the pay structure. I've got job descriptions for every job in the city. Julie and Tammy have worked hard on making sure that was together. An org chart. We plan on bringing back this with the upgraded personnel manual, the whole 9 yards. That's One thing that you got from me is I'm good at that. So that's something we don't have to pay for. That process could probably cost, I paid $40,000 in the county that I was at prior to for somebody to come in and tell me how to do that. So I think I could handle it for this size and bring it back for your review. So all that will be together and come back at a later date. But that does help us maintain our policies going forward for increases. Also for anything, new hires, anything of that nature, based on how high you hire them off the bat. So that'll be coming back to you for a later date. So in the personnel column, my recommendation within this budget is $1 an hour or 4% cost of living increase, whichever is greater. So that would be on October 1st. They would get $1 an hour, which is $2,080, or 4%, whichever is greater. So if you make more than $25, you would go up in the 4% category. What this does is it kind of evens out the playing field. Somebody that's been here a long time, that's accrued a lot of money, that gets 4%, gets a much larger increase than somebody who just started or works on the trash truck and doesn't make as much money as that person. The dollar levels the playing field, in my opinion. So it would be $1 or 4%. The majority of our employees are going to get the dollar, which would be $2,080 in their pocket. The other option, in addition to that, what I'm recommending is a 3% merit increase, up to 3% merit increase. So on their anniversary date, the supervisors would review the staff, and that's one thing that we've done since I've been here, is we started leveling that playing field with performance reviews. So all the staff have been reviewed, they have a level playing field, they know what they've been doing well and what they've not been doing well, and they can continue to be paid accordingly. So somebody that's busting their hump gets an additional 3% or up to 3%, and somebody that may not be doing as well gets 0, 1, 2, 3 on their anniversary date. By doing it on your anniversary date, it kind of lessens the blow to the city. It makes it less because it comes in sporadically throughout the year. It's not all it's in on October 1st. So there is that conversation that helps us save a little bit of money and also put some money in the employees' pockets that we drastically need to make sure that we do. An update on that, just before I go any further on that, just so you know, did a little survey on some of the increases that are going on around Bay County, so you can kind of get this in your mind, and I can supply this. Bay County is proposing 4.6% or the next step in the pay plan. They just did a comprehensive pay increase in the last year to get everybody brought up to the new level so that they're competitive. Callaway in 2022, on October 1st, they gave $2 an hour, so that'd be $4,000 for each person. And in April, just recently, they gave another $1. So they're trying to be competitive with Panama City and other folks in that area, Parker and those folks. So they've given a total of $3 an hour between 2022. In 2023, they're proposing another $1, which helps them continue to move forward with a starting salary of $15 an hour. That's also what I proposed, is $15 an hour. So you can go get a job as a pharmacy tech at CVS, I saw it the other day, taking money at the cash register for $15 an hour in the air conditioning. And we got these guys out there, a lot of them busting their humps out in the sun all day long, and you guys understand that. But just so you know, we get our good money's worth from those folks. Panama City Beach is 2% across the board in April of 22, so they gave an additional raise during the calendar year to their staff, kind of a cost of living adjustment. In fiscal year 23, they're giving 6% more on October 1st. Panama City is giving 4.5% this paycheck in July as a cost of living increase to kind of keep up with gas prices. They're down probably 50 employees, counting police officers. The school district I saw today was having trouble hiring 120 teachers, so there's a shortage in our market. So I figure us as lucky to be fully staffed. Panama City also adjusted this year coming up. They're going to move everybody to 15 hours an hour and address compensation or compression with that. And then $3% more for cost of living increase. So that's in the area of Bay County. Just so you know, Port St. Joe gave 10% on October 1st of last year, 10%. We gave 4. So that's why we were in danger of losing some of those folks to Port St. Joe. They gave 10%. They forecasted 8% coming up in October for this year. The Social Security Administration has projected 8.5% for the cost of living increase. So we've got I hate to say keep up with the Joneses, but we've got to make sure we stay competitive before we lose our folks. So I'll have that available for you. I just finished that this morning. I should have had a copy for you. I apologize. So back to the cost of living increases. The COLA would cost us approximately $77,500 plus associated benefits on October 1st if you were to do the $1 or 4%, whichever is greater. The additional merit increase would be another $47,900 plus associated benefits. That's retirement, taxes, all those kind of things on top of that. So to do up to 3%. So if everybody got 3%, that's that dollar figure. Based on that, that's the personnel cost change that I'm proposing based on this budget, and I'm open to take any kind of conversations about the wages if you'd like to at this time. If not, we can come back to it.
No, I think we ought to stop as we go, stop if anybody wants to.
It was just a lot of information I was making
One
sure.
question I have is, when a person, I don't know the job category, but by job category, do they have, when the person hires on here, have we looked in our personnel policy or under your direction, do we have a starting and a stopping point for a job?
Yes, sir. And a midpoint.
Yeah, that's what I think
So
we do.
nobody will go outside the pay band. When they hit the max, they hit the max. We had problems with that before. People were over the ranges,
Right,
and
that's why I'm bringing it.
One thing I fixed that for now, and that would be part of my policy. That would be that nobody would be outside the pay band without prior approval. So they would be inside the pay band. One thing that I do need to recommend that we do is continue. If we do a flat cost of living increase, whether it's $1 or 4%, we need to slide our scales so that the starting salary goes up in accordance to that, so that we remain competitive. But you're correct. So that also moves up the max. So ideally, where we are right now, people stay within the range based on the increase.
So the employee can see, I'm in this job, here's what I can do.
Yeah, and if I don't get promoted, that's the max that I'm ever going to get in this job. Yes, sir.
Okay.
How about, do we have salary employees and hourly employees?
Yes, sir.
How does it affect the salary?
Same difference.
Same.
Same $1 or 4%, or if it's 3% merit, and they have a pay range. They have a separate. There's a line level employees in my proposal. There's a supervisor level employees, and then there's an executive or management level of employees. So they each have their own pay band.
All right, since we're here in a budgeting process, and you have options to the increases that could range from 4% plus 3%,
Mm-hmm.
do we maximize the budget when we build it?
By maximize, do you mean?
The full 7%.
Right.
Well, I spread it out. The other 3% spread out throughout the rest of the year, if that's what you mean.
No, for budgeting purposes, is it based on 7% for the salaries?
Or 4.
No, I put 4% on 10-1, and then it's figured on how many months you work in for the rest of the year for your increase. So it's
So you would buy employment dates and then figure out
correct.
that.
Well, anniversary date or review date, the last review. Like if, for example, if I was reviewed in January, my review would be in January for that 3%. So you'd only have to budget 3% for the rest of that year, not the full year.
Correct.
So that
Was my question.
was what I did. Yes,
Just
sir.
we looked at.
Debbie, that's exactly what we did, right?
Yes, yep, based on the anniversary date of the.
It's good to have her confirm that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
She
Just
did.
telephone like you're, or fall asleep
I
on
wish
it.
she was on the screen here. We thought about. I'm going to work on Teams for the next time. We're getting there. All right. So any other questions related
Good
to that?
old, yeah, any more questions? Good question.
All right. So this also takes into effect a 10% increase in workers' compensation coverage for the new positions and increased rates. That's going up. We're working on actually closing out. I'm working on closing 3 of the cases right now with our workers' comp person that's been on the books since 2012. So I hope that would help our moderate going forward. And I've been actively working on those 3 cases since I got here. So they're long-standing cases that I can't get into. There's also an increased associated benefits of approximately 10.5%. So the trend is 10.5% for Florida Blue. I expect to come in a little bit lower than that, maybe 8%, something in that neighborhood, but I have to go with what the trend is for this budget. And as we get further down the line, closer to October 1, I get a firmer number from them. So that's what the 10.5% increase is. One thing that I also want to let you know that I'm working on is a tiered benefit system for our employees. So right now we have the Cadillac plan. And you guys know for a family, the $24,000 that it costs, you get the luxury of a beautiful benefit plan. And I'm not taking anything away from that. But some of our employees don't need that. They're single, they are healthy, they want insurance, but they don't need to go monthly like me. But they would prefer to have more money in their pocket and pay more at the doctor. So I'm working on a second tier, which would allow us to keep the Cadillac plan that we have, I like to call it, but include a Honda Civic plan where you pay less out of your pocket monthly, but you pay more when you go to the doctor. So right now you go to the doctor, you pay $20. They would pay whatever the visit cost, whatever the Florida Blue negotiates the visit price. So they would have to elect to migrate to that plan if they wanted to do that. It's totally up to them. It saves the city money. It saves them money. It gets more money in their pocket. So that's something that I'm working on. I can keep you guys in the loop as we go through the budget process on that. But that would be an open enrollment kind of change, and I've been working on that for several months.
Have you heard the FRS numbers yet?
Debbie, what do we factor in for FRS?
30%.
30%, I didn't hear the question.
The FRS, the retirement change, every year they do theirs.
30%?
We did 3%, but I don't have the new rate.
3%.
We budgeted 3%, so we're waiting to.
Wow.
That should be enough. It's never been higher.
We hope 30% maybe cringe.
Yeah, I wrote it down.
She sounded like she agreed to it. I'm thinking I should. Operations increase. Operations increase is the other one citywide. Fuel costs have increased approximately 45%, and we get a deal on our gas. So one thing that we've also done is start to work on using that agricultural diesel. We can get that far cheaper for our vehicles. Panama City's doing it. Sandy brought that up to us about, he found out from some other fire chiefs about how they're using that diesel that doesn't, the tax is not on that. So that's can save us substantially. So Tommy and his guys are working on moving us over to that category. So that's another cost savings we hope to realize, but we're working on doing that. So just so you know, we're always looking for ways to save money on our vehicles.
Any communities looking at propane?
The garbage trucks?
They can use propane because they have a propane distribution center on 77 for their own vehicles and for anybody in the community.
Yeah, they switch.
They switch, yeah. But that's the only one I've heard of.
That's all.
I've not heard of anybody else.
A lot of them manufacture that gas out of the stuff from the landfill and stuff of that nature. Not propane, but it's
Well, I'm not sure where
biodiesel.
I'm not sure what it is. But I just know
But the Bay County does do
you can
that.
buy it for $1 a gallon. I was kind of going,
How do I get that for
How do I
$1?
get propane in the car?
So we are recognizing those costs in this current fiscal year, but we think that we'll be fine throughout the rest of the budget. All right, the next topic that I'm just gonna touch on. Each department director is going to go through these positions for the request as they come up to talk to you. This is an overview of some of the positions that we're looking for. The full-time firefighter, a possibility of
Keep talking.
Okay. So the full-time firefighter, we're going to look at the possibility of an administrative assistant, a development services director to oversee the planning and building services department, park superintendent who would also oversee the harbor moving forward, harbor master and marina, the plumber and electrician that would be split between mostly in public works and general maintenance, but also into utilities to help us with not having to outsource electricians and plumbers to do a lot of that work. We could do it internally and save some money. And then a part-time code enforcement officer to help us with 7 day a week enforcement and holidays, and any time that maybe Kathy needs a day off, we would have additional coverage for part-time rates, which does not include health insurance, but it does have a little bit of retirement built into there. But that would be based on 20 hours a week. So we'll get into those individual costs of these employees as we go through the process, but I wanted to see the total number of positions that we were talking about, and each one of them will be brought up as we go along.
So as a note for you, when you go into the personnel policy, part-time employees are eligible for benefits. Make sure we change that.
For health insurance benefits also?
Yeah.
I'll double check that.
I had the argument a few years back, that's why I remember.
I thought they had to be 30 hours a week to get that. I understand. I'll look into that thing. But they do get retirement. If you don't give them retirement, FRS will ding you on not giving them retirement. So I'll verify that. Thank you for the heads up.
So these are all new versus.
They're not existing. None of these are existing positions.
Okay.
And the department director will go over those as we go through, and I can explain anything additional related to that. But you can see the total cost of what that would be: $496,000 worth of new positions that I'm proposing. All right. The next page goes over some of the capital items that we just talked about. General fund capital. So in this list, we went through that first list. We talked about the additional revenues and things. Some of those coincide with these, some of them do not. They'll all be addressed individually throughout the department director's presentation. But just so you can see, within this budget, $575,200 is in requests. Now, some of these are money set aside for future purchases, like the ladder truck that we all know that we need one day, but can't really try to figure out how to pay for it. But trying to come up with ways to put that aside for a capital purchase. And then the citywide street paving is another big ticket item that I spoke about earlier related to ongoing maintenance of our streets and roads. So that's the listing there. Each one of those will be broken up as we go down the list. You can see where the grant funds tie into some of those as well. The only item on here for impact fees is related to the kayak launches, and it will be $30,000 of that $60,000 will be the impact fees. We look for other ways to spend some of those, but we're governed pretty hard on what we're allowed to do. So any questions on the capital, but do know the department director will address each one of these as we go through this budget. All right, next. Next is the sheriff's office. I spoke with the sheriff, and we've had some conversations about what we would do should we need another officer, I believe, a deputy, in the beginning. When you guys worked with the sheriff on taking over the contract, they said we'll start it, lean, and we'll have to build on it one day. We're getting close to where that one day is. The sheriff said, I'm not standing up on top of the podium right this minute. We got to have somebody. But if we don't get somebody in the coming year, we're going to need two somebodies very soon. So I looked at a way that we could phase it in to be affordable. That would include $50,000 in this current budget. We could have a new deputy start in March of 2022, around that time frame, finish the fiscal year with an amendment to the current contract for $50,000, and then going forward in the new contract, it would go up by $100,000 for what it actually costs for another deputy with equipment, supplies, vehicle, computers, all those kind of things. So that's in there for your review. I didn't think it was appropriate to start it in October because I think we can get by till the season starts next year with what we have. 216 apartments will be online. They're supposed to start leasing in November. So we really need to start thinking about what March is going to look like for spring break or snapper season that next year. So that's my recommendation.
So that could address the question by Rock. For
The email, yes, sir. And
to some degree.
I brought that with me in case anybody didn't see it. Did everybody see that? An email about the possibility of somebody to work on traffic through Bay County deputy. He did talk about giving more tickets to raise more money to pay for it. I don't know that that's the direction that we want to go right now, but we
He said that you're asking for one person.
yeah, basically same difference. It's a pay me now or pay me later situation. So I
Doug, what is, when we do the development orders and we assess them, our impact fee money, what do we have in there? What is our impact fee schedule for fire, police, parks?
Debbie, can you help with that answer? We do have some money set aside for police impact fees that you would cover like a vehicle. It's like $26,000 or something like that. Do we still get impact fees for the police department? I don't believe we do.
Yes, we still collect all three of those general government impact fees. The capital improvement plan is going to designate use of form over the next 5 years. So a little bit of it's going to be used in this year, but we have to start thinking about ways to spend them though.
What do we collect for general fund impact fee? What percentage?
It's 900 for Parks and Rec, 202 for police or fire, and then 102 for police. So that's $102 per unit.
Okay, when's the last time we looked at that? Do you
As
know?
a study, to do a study, it was when I was there probably, when we actually adopted it.
Okay, that's probably been 10 or 12 years ago.
And we explored increasing it like 18 or 17, and then somebody told us no, Jeff Tindler brought it up. There were some means you had to go through to do an impact fee study, but I don't remember all the details.
I remember something about
Yeah.
the study.
Weren't there
original one set in 2005?
Yeah, it's a long time.
Okay, well, the growth, Doug, that we're experiencing and will be experiencing in terms of new growth, not replaced growth, but new growth. Those monies should be directly related to these types of expenses.
Debbie, I spoke to you about this we're still trying to replace growth. Like the stuff coming online over, and that might be a good question, but like the apartments, the St. Joe stuff that's coming online, they're putting in the infrastructure. We're not paying for that. So I'm working on a way possibly to increase, you'll see later, for Nanook lift station, because it might be power in the 25 acres, so we can partially get some of that. So I'm trying to be creative on that, but we have to create new growth, and I haven't been able to do that yet, based on the number of people we were at.
You mean, well, everything was St. Joe's new.
But they're putting in infrastructure. They're putting in all those water.
They aren't buying a police.
No.
They aren't buying a police car. They aren't
State
buying
Farm.
a garbage truck. Those are general. Garbage truck is enterprise fund.
Right.
But general government expenses. The whole purpose of those monies is to offset the expenses to service new growth. That's why they're there.
Debbie, you and I addressed mostly infrastructure. We didn't talk about police and fire. Is there something that you can think of that we can do related to police and fire for the offsetting costs?
It's capital, right? Only capital.
We did include some fire impact fees in the budget for the new firefighters PPE, so that was paying for
That's not much.
impact fees.
Those are three.
As far as police goes, there should be $6,000 in balance that
26 or
you
56?
could use for,
26 or 56?
56.
All right, are those money, is some of that 56 come from St. Joe, from those development orders?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'll
We didn't
explore.
even put that in the budget.
I'll explore a way to use
I mean,
that.
we need to explore that.
That would help. That would help with the offsetting costs for the police department or for the deputy.
That is for capital, isn't it? We can't use it for.
I thought I had to buy a vehicle for
Yeah, I
it.
think it's for capital. We have to use it to buy the vehicle, not the employee. But I don't remember. Just.
Debbie and I mentioned that too, because we
We
bought
gotta
the
make that
vehicle.
circle as wide as we can. Let me put it that way.
Let me look
Creative account.
Well,
Buy them the
That's
new,
right.
buy them the new.
We can't live in a circle that big. We gotta live in a big circle.
I understand. Maybe we could buy the vehicle for the sheriff's office and they could take it over or something. I'll look into it. Let me see.
What's gonna happen, we're just gonna accumulate those dollars.
There sit there.
We
We'll
have.
sit there and
We have.
we're gonna add add more tax bills.
That must have gone up about $30,000 since the St. Joe development paid their impact fees. Debbie, is that correct? Because we had like 26,000 early on last year.
$24,447 to be exact.
Was from St. Joe.
Yeah.
That's pretty exact. All right, so Debbie, we need to make a note to figure out a way to utilize some of that. So I'll come back to you guys with some more information there. So thank you for that.
We need, okay.
Is that the visual plan? 103.
All right. The next sections where our department directors come up and you can ask questions to them. I thought it was best, what we did when we brought on our new council members this year is we had an orientation for the council members where we brought them individually and brought the directors in to kind of give an overview of what they do and how many people are in their department and things of that nature. So we're not going to get that detail for what you guys are doing, but I want Sandy and each one of the staff directors to get working towards presenting the budget to you guys so that you can familiarize them with the dollar figures and they're the ones spending it, not me, not you. Floor is yours, sir.
Morning, everybody. So the first slide really just tells you exactly what I think you already know about the fire department. The fact there's 1 fire chief, 6 full-time firefighters, and therefore we've got 7 part-time members. Our part-time membership ebbs and flows. It's certainly on the downward turn just because it's so much more difficult to find people who are willing to do part-time work these days. They're able to get plenty of overtime in their own departments and so on and so forth. So we're probably down a little bit on our part-time members. We obviously have that, the very important Bay County paramedic with us 24 hours a day. We set up a mutual aid agreement with Tyndall Air Force Base and Gulf County, and our hospital transportations are supplied by Bay County, and obviously mutual aid with Gulf County if it is necessary. Our equipment is engine 43, good old Kenworth outside, in good condition, got fairly low mileage on it, we keep it in good nick. The new 2029 squad, which is doing exactly what it was designed to do. Then we have the rescue truck, which I use predominantly. We have our side-by-side, which you see on the beach, although some people think it's a golf cart with a surfboard on top of it, but that's another day's work. And then we have our ski. We will need, as you're all aware, we are getting significantly larger and we are also getting significantly taller. We do need to look and talk about a ladder truck in the future, not something in this particular budget that we need it for, but something that we do need to start thinking about so that we don't land ourselves with a rather large bill 3 years from now. It certainly wouldn't even be feasible until we have our new property across the way, because you need somewhere to house it. But we need to start thinking about the possibilities of us having to acquire one of those. What I would like to try and do this year is grow the number of full-time members of the department by lessening some of the members in the part-time side of things, so we can take some of the budget from our part-time department to put into our full-time department. If we do it one person at a time over the next 3 or 4 years, we can get to where ISO want us to be for a better ISO rating. Do it in increments is easier on everybody, as we can let it grow as the city grows rather than giving you one big hit in at any one time. And then the other piece of equipment that we do, or the other 2 bits of equipment that we do need, is a positive ventilation fan, which is what is required to be on the mini pumper, which we didn't have for ISO. They're not docking us because I told them we're going to get one. So you can see on the next page, basically, the cost of the firefighter. Some of that cost will be taken up by, we have a 75,500 budget for our part-timers. We're going to take some of that part-time budget and put it in to pay for the full, if we do get this new member, put it into that. Some in the region of $20,000 or $25,000 of that part-time budget is going to come out of that to go into the full-time person. There is talk about trying to put away $100,000 this year if possible for the fire truck. I also believe we can use impact fees going forward to help us buy that truck. They will be going obviously in regards to all new development both that way and possibly even down 15th Street. We did have Wildland Fire PPE, which is lighter weight jackets and pants and helmets that we use for Wildland Fire. They were all lost in the storm. I have a grant avenue to go down. The plan would be to do that. The total cost is $6,000. If we get 50 grant, it would be $3,000 to the city and $3,000 to the grant. I'm also going to try and do the grant for the PPV fan. Again, total cost $3,700. Hopefully we get a 50% grant, and that will lessen the cost of that. And I believe we've actually been able to put the new firefighter PPE, because it is growth and it is equipment necessary. I think we can use our impact fees for that rather than the grant. If we can't, I can again put that into the grant and get 50% of that covered in the grant. And I believe that is about where we are. But the idea is to try and grow the department slowly so that we can get to where we want to get by the time we need to get there. There's nothing worse than getting to a point of realizing that we're behind the 8 ball and having to go and put a large, or ask for a large amount of money in one go.
Can you talk a little bit about some of the staffing issues you run into now with being?
The issue is we have a minimum staffing of 2 people upstairs. So there's always 2 full-time firefighters on duty 24 hours a day. But I have 6 full-time members, 24 hours on, 48 hours off. So I have to have 2 members upstairs 24 hours a day. That's either 2 full-timers, 1 full-timer and a part-timer. Getting more difficult to get part-timers, one full-timer and myself. For argument's sake, and this, I was on duty for 12 hours as one of the firefighters for 4th of July because one of my guys was off having knee surgery, and you're not going to get somebody to give up their 4th of July. So with the fall off in part-time members, it's getting more and more difficult to get replacements to cover those either sick time or time off for the firefighters. So this is going to help to alleviate that issue by starting to grow the fire department, only having a minimum manning of 2. I would then have 3 on one shift, and that person can be moved around to alleviate any shortcomings in any other shift going forward until we get, hopefully then, a year, 18 months down the road, another one. And then a year, 18 months down the road again from that one, another one, and then we're up to 3 people, minimum manning of 2, easily done, part-time is gone. Now we're a full-time career fire department.
To brag on Sandy and his team a little bit, they don't have an overtime budget. So he's not paying overtime to run that separate from his own budget. So he's making it happen. Sometimes it's a tough way to go for, like he said, picking up all the shifts himself or weekends, or now we've got to do the harbor master stuff for the summertime. And so to brag on them a little bit, somehow they managed to not have the overtime in the budget. The same thing with the staff that he has. I don't know if you've seen them, I'm sure you have. They work events like it's part of their job. Fire departments historically that I've worked with are, their life safety. These guys, flag traffic at the beach, or they flag traffic in the parking in the parks and stuff like that. So we get a really good bang for our buck for that. So that's another reason why I propose to move forward with an additional firefighter. So, and the capital purchases we can discuss further. The conversation about impact fees for the future growth for the ladder truck was. We were going to build another fire station, and we may need some of that, so we can at least, if we find a way to put the money to the side for the ladder truck, we have a better thing to work with down the road. So that's my direction on that. So we can, however you guys decide, but great presentation. I don't know if you had anything else to add.
Unless I see the mayor looking as though he's about to ask me a question, or I bored him, one of the
I'm
other.
going to ask you several.
Pardon me, sir?
I'm going to ask you several questions. To grow the fire department
Yes, sir.
is great. To grow it with ad valorem tax, I'm not going to support that. Absolutely not. We're doing it now. When we started the fire department, we started it with a plan of here's what people pay. Storm came, it wiped all of it. We have no structures. But until we can return, I'm not going to ask taxpayers to grow the fire department on that little tax. I'm just not going to do that. It's the absolute worst. It's the most, in my opinion, ad valorem tax is the most unfair tax. And for a fire service, because the guy's got $1 million house, he's going to get the same truck, he's going to get the same people, he's going to get the same hoses, he's going to get the same water as a guy that's got a $250,000 house. And that $1 million guy's going to pay a hell of a lot more for it on ad valorem tax. And we sold the fire department to this city on here's how we're going to run it. Not your fault, my fault, anybody's fault. Michael came and took that away. But until we can return to that, I think we better live with what we have.
I did leave one piece of information out, not to interrupt at all, but in the budget, I put a $30,000 in professional services in the fire department for a study to see if we could get back to where we have the fire assessment as opposed to.
And we don't need it. We know what it is. We have a fire assessment. We don't need to spend anything. I mean, we can reenact what we had. We paid once for it.
We said the same thing. We were talking about the number of commercial businesses to support that. Do you have anything you want to add?
Well, the other issue is a significant amount of the money gained by the assessment was through commercial properties. But we've lost 75% of those commercial properties, and they're not, at the moment, they're not coming back as fast as
That's why I don't think, I think it is terrible timing to attempt to do this, to grow a department until we can get where we can support it from a fire assessment and remove that millage off of the citizens and property owners. Now, that's my take. I just, if we're not careful, we're gonna find our way of, and if you look at the fire department budget, it's 900, you're proposing
Well,
$900,000.
yeah, I mean, I have to admit I was shocked when I saw that, but I mean, a lot of what's in there, I did not ask for. That's,
All I'm saying is,
I
maybe take it out.
yeah, no,
For me, I don't want any growth in the fire department under ad valorem tax supporting.
Yeah, I looked at the number too. I mean, as far as departments, I mean, you're 3 times the amount of some of these departments, and that's continuous over the prior year also. It's a large.
Yeah, it's $200,000.
This is the non-amended number, by the way, the 707, didn't include the amendments where they were moved around.
Well-
Just, you know, it's close to that number as well.
oh,
Yeah, you only got 100, you're showing 112,000 in your report.
Right, the 100 was the truck, so you could pull that out right away if you didn't want to go that route, but
Well, you got a $41,000 salary guy.
you know, we can look at options about with the ladder truck and of course the professional services fee. I didn't understand if the rest of the council feels that we can use what we had before and kind of figure that number out. I think we can as well. But I thought you were Debbie, we need to add something about you have to have a requirement for the study to go that route. I don't know that answer.
You're talking to me back.
About the study that we were talking about for the fire assessment, if we were to go back.
But you just went zero it out. I'm not sure what you're at. I don't.
Do we have to have that? Do we have to have the assessment, or can we go off the last assessment from 2018, 17?
2017, 18.
That's something Clint may have to ask. I'm not sure.
Adrian, do you remember? No, because you were.
I'm gonna put it in there. I can't tell you that.
Well, I may be, listen, I'm only voicing, I don't like ad valorem tax supporting a service that is so unfair. The service that somebody pays because of a home evaluation, land and house evaluation, pay a lot more for the same service.
And just, this is not by any means a comeback in any manner, mean, or form, but for argument's sake, in Bay County they pay 1.38 mils, but when it comes to, for argument's sake, something completely different, schooling, you also pay an ad valorem taxes, and I don't have any kids, and just because my house is worth $500,000, my next door neighbour is worth $250,000, they've got 3 kids. I mean, it's
All I'm saying is
taxes are never.
I didn't vote on that.
I
And
know.
and I would not have, I said when I started, ad valorem tax is a very unfair system for supporting, but when you're gonna support a service that the city provides, I just don't, I mean, that's why we did the assessment to start with.
I totally
So
understand.
I don't know why we want to get away from it.
But maybe what we can do is we can look into where we would be for next year's budget as far as the assessment is concerned, and I don't suppose we have time to get back into an assessment scenario. Do we? No, we don't. We're too.
Well, I doubt we have enough structures here
No, I
now.
don't.
No.
I think it work. Big virtuals.
But they're
Can down the road a little bit.
but we can see them, and the more structures, the better price we're gonna be able to give.
Yeah, no, I get that.
We get what, 34,000 in NTSU money for Bay County also. I mean, that's built into there. I mean,
That's why that particular number is extremely misleading. When I saw it for the first time 2 days ago, the actual final number, and I just looked at it and I balked too. But then I read it and I realized that there was a lot of stuff in there that number is a misrepresentation, but that still doesn't get away from your comment. I understand your comment totally, and I don't disagree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you in any manner, mean, or form. What I'm trying to do is get us to a point where we don't end up one day having a major shock like we did in 2017-18 when you were landed with the prospect of having to start a full-time career fire department from scratch with a budget then, I believe, of $850,000 from an assessment.
That's right.
And when we go to the new building, in a few years, there's just things that are gonna have to come along with that. I mean, he's very thin, so he's using the part-time money to cover part of the stuff. I believe he would, put his flag in the ground about trying to make money within the budget to pay for that additional firefighter so they continue to move forward. Because we are having a tough time getting those part-time folks to fill in the gaps. I mean, even, like he said, the chief has to pick up shifts, which is fine. He's a salary person. That's what he's here to
You
do.
may get support from everybody, but you're not gonna get it from me, not from the fire department. I'm just saying, growth for
No,
the fire department, under the Avalon
I
tax
understood
system, I
that.
don't support.
I've understood that comment from you from day one, and I do not wholly disagree with you.
Okay.
I'm just not quite certain
Well,
how we
I'm-
go forward from here with the city. That's all.
Let me comment. I'm sorry, Bobby, please don't let me jump in. You got out, or wouldn't it?
I'm like, I believe we are, our growth, the growth should pay. The more I think about what you said, I do think that would be the way to do it. I think the new growth should pay for, we got 900 homes coming over there. Sooner or later, it should, we have to get money from something that should pay for the same thing as the sheriff and you. And that's what
I don't think, I'm like that, I don't think the taxpayers should pay for it. I think our new growth, our new funds, or whatever, however you're supposed to say it, ought to pay for you and the sheriff department. That's all.
So let me get creative with some ideas on how to supplement that. Is the ladder truck something? Are we in agreement that we should start putting away money to that, or should we rely on impact fees to be there down the road, or think about it next year? I mean, I put $100,000 in there because if we're talking about a $200,000 truck and we need it in 2 years, we're going to have to get to that point one way or another. The ladder truck, our buildings, we talked about that, the other day. They're getting taller. They're getting 50 feet tall. We don't have the.
What's a new ladder truck, though?
Well, a new one isn't even.
Okay, well, what is a ladder?
Basically, we can pick up a second-hand one for between 175 and 250.
There's no grants available for
That's-
life-saving
I can work on that. We're definitely going to work on that.
That is a possibility. They tend to. The problem with a lot of grants for someone as small as us is the fact that we don't have the population here for them. It's that old return on investment as far as using grant money is
I
concerned.
understand.
Well, let me see if I can throw in a grant on this appropriation money from the Senate. The House bill that I'm working on right now for the bridge. Let me explore that.
What are the odds our neighbors to the east have any equipment for sale?
If you go by what they were talking about in the other day, they're having significant.
Well, you got a dump truck, maybe get a ladder truck.
It's been a good week.
Their chief in our next door department was complaining bitterly about how difficult it is to get people to volunteer. The fact that they're going to have to change their process.
What direction we want to give on, if we're going to go through this in this manner on fire, what direction do we want to give? I know first budget meeting, so it's not like we may as well address. I'm not for the salary, I'm not for the new firefighter, I'm not for any change in the fire department other than whatever the salaries are that we have, feel like we would eventually agree to on increases, but not for expanding the fire department. You're that way. Rich, you got a question? Or?
No, I don't have a question. I pretty much agree with what you're saying. I just don't have a solution to
No.
Maybe I can look for a way to, if we keep the fire, let's just say we keep the firefighter in, and if I come up with a creative way to pay for it, I'll come back. Otherwise, I get your direction. Unless the other two folks have nothing to say.
Y'all good?
Well, I think we're going to recurring theme throughout the whole day today of the additional stuff and be difficult to justify.
Okay. All right. Well, then we're gonna move on.
Okay. Thank you, Sandy. All right. right, next is Public Works. Tommy Davis come up and talk a little bit about the Public Works Department, and then kind of go into some of the asks that we have from Public Works.
Good morning, council. Good morning. First, I want to say thanks to Doug for some of the raises that we got for the staff. And he was absolutely right. We were about to lose some of the people. We had 3 people that were almost ready to go to St. Joe. It's hard to get good quality people for $12, $13 an hour, and you guys know that, so I won't pound on that. I just want to say that the staff we have now is top notch. You guys see it every day throughout the city. And I'll talk about sanitation a little further along, because that was my hardest thing to do when I got set up this position, is to get sanitation where they're at now. You guys, including the mayor, knows the troubles we've had with sanitation in the past, and I've got a good group of guys in there now. And the guys I've hired all have CDL license, so we're not having to pull somebody out of Public Works to drive the garbage truck when one of them goes on vacation. So I do want to say kudos to the staff. They're really, really good group of guys. Talk a little bit about Public Works. One of the things that I asked for capital this year was a skid steer. We maintain all the roads on the south side going to the beach. The backhoe is just not the right piece of equipment to try to pull out the ends of the road where you go down on the beach. Skid steer is what we need to manage that, and that's the biggest piece of equipment that I can ask for, other than the garbage truck. The dump truck, and we got that the other day, and we can make do with that. Got it for no cost. Actually, a nice dump truck, so it's going to come in really handy. One of the other things that I do want to mention, as St. Joe comes online out here with all the new apartment stuff, of course, you guys know the city's going to grow. Right now, we've managed the city. I've been here 17 years, and we've got the same amount of staff that we had 17 years ago. I have 10 Public Works employees. I'm the 11th, if you want to count me. And then I have 6 full-time sanitation staff. But at some point, we're going to need a little more. The mayor made a comment the other day when we were down at Sunset Park. He said, "Are you going to be able to keep this place clean?" If you notice, all our new parks are twice the size of what we used to have. And the answer I gave the mayor was, "Yes, sir, we're going to take care of them. We're going to make sure they're clean." And we will continue to do that. But we are going to need to increase the staff at some point. We put on here for an electrician and a plumber. And, I'm not going to sit here and swear up and down it one way or another, but those staff could be used. Right now, I'm probably the electrician that's out here. I still do the electrical, and I'm the public works director. None of the rest of the staff has any electrical experience at all, so just about I'm it. Plumber, we use, of course, the sewer department, and they help as much as they can, but we really don't have a plumber. That's 2 things that we could use in the future, for sure. This is put on here for consideration to you guys. Y'all the ones who will make the choice, but it's two departments that we could use somebody for if you get there. The other thing I put on here was an administrative assistant. The ladies help us all they can over in the office, but me and Mr. Glenn have a lot of paperwork. There's a lot of times that we stuck in the office doing things that we could use some help. If you remember back, of course, the mayor would, and Mr. Bobby would, but Troy was Public Works Director. He had an assistant, was Wendy. Wendy helped do whatever Troy needed. Right now, me and Mr. Glenn does all our own paperwork and everything, so that would be something that would help free us up so that I could be in the field a lot more with, just like GCUC is doing the stormwater now. I could stay on top of that a little better than what I do. That would be something that we could greatly use, would be some administrative help on that thing. As far as equipment, you see on here, we've got a new backhoe this past year. Of course, the beach rake is going to need replacing here before too long. That's one of the things Kimberly told me to get her price on. Normally, the CDC helps us with that and gets us the beach rake. The rest of the equipment, we did purchase a mower this year. One of the mowers that we had was one that went through Hurricane Michael. Troy was able to rebuild it and get it going, but I'm gonna tell you, you know what it's like mowing the city, and we mow every day. Those mowers, the decks wear out on them, the mowers wear out, so we put in a budget for a new mower for next year. And basically, that's to replace one of them that we've got that's just about wore out now.
Hold on one second, Tommy. You got ahead a little bit there. Let's go, before you go into the rest of the equipment, the next slide gets directly into some of those positions that he was discussing. The positions,
Break the TV
Don't
down.
bust the screen.
No, it didn't, thank goodness.
still have the receipt. Sorry about that. So on the next slide, you can see where we broke down the positions individually. We did list the plumber, electrician under Public Works. However, that's something that Glenn and Utilities needs a lot too, so we've got a position split up in there inside the salary description, but majority of it was in Public Works out of this general fund. And as the utility grows, we can transfer part of that, more of that over to the utility. But an electrician, and I'm not looking for I know that an electrician could be $40 an hour. I'm not looking for one of those. We're looking for a tradesman, somebody that's a journeyman, something to that level. And $20 an hour, if I can get them to have some kind of experience, is what I'm looking for. So that way we can continue to move forward with some of the things that we have to do, as opposed to paying all those dollars for somebody to come out to rewire something. Or
Do we know what the annual dollar amount is that we pay for plumbing and electrical outside?
no.
You ain't gonna get the plumbers and license or electrician for $20.
That's exactly what I said.
And I don't think we'll get to that, but I think we can get somebody that's got several years of experience that could bring something to us, as opposed to just Tommy being the electrician of the
You're gonna have to have somebody that's got license, or to me, if you don't hire you might find somebody to work under somebody else, but you won't never get that. Yeah, that's
Especially electrician. You get a licensed electrician, you're looking at $35, $40 an hour.
Just time, about an hour's lot. And we might find somebody that's got the license, that this guy he can work under his license for that, but you won't find that license.
I don't disagree. I just couldn't figure out how to put $40 and $35 an hour in there with what the rest of the staff that we have. So, for the bigger jobs, we'll be able to pull that out, but for some of the smaller jobs, we do believe that it could help us exponentially. I could look into some of those repair and maintenance dollar figures, but it's a lot of it, like touching the stuff over in the utilities department wouldn't be an option unless you had a license. That's why the majority of it was in general maintenance. The other one, park superintendent. This one is a highly needed position for the city. This position is one that I've brought up several times, related to the harbor, the marina, the boat ramp, all the new parks that we're bringing online, all the new irrigation systems we're bringing online. This person could be a superintendent working under the director that could manage the different parks to make sure that we had weekend coverage on the parks. And the marina as well. Sandy's doing a good job in that, but that's just a temporary kind of hold on there. Other than that, all these bathrooms, you saw pictures of them today. I mean, we'll have more of these online next year that have multiple bathrooms all over the city. So I think we have to start looking forward for somebody to manage that specifically, not just Tommy managing it. So that's where I put the park superintendent. The admin assistant, Tommy hit on that. As opposed to adding another general maintenance person, I think we could add an admin assistant that would allow a lot more coverage for him, or maybe Ken, to be out in the field more where they're doing something in the office. The same thing with Lynn and Garrett. They could be out in the field more as opposed to doing payroll. They could double check and oversee payroll, but they don't have to process of that, and invoices and things of that nature on a daily basis. Not to mention customer service. When somebody calls up, right now they get Tommy or Glenn or me. We could have somebody that could field customer service question calls and things going forward. So those two are highly sought after positions at the top there. Any questions on public works positions or comments, or I'll gladly take direction.
Well, I'm kind of going back to the fire department. I'm having a hard time with salaries and adding people because they're permanent additions to a budget. You know, I had a mayor I worked for 6 years.
Who would break in my head? Be careful about adding staff.
Yeah, that's when the city ran like clockwork too.
Yeah.
That's when you could take this budget in the time frame he's talking about, made a copy of last year's,
Correct.
changed it by 3 to 5%, presented it in 20 minutes, we'd be gone.
Yeah,
Correct.
that's true.
Those days are over. Those days are way over. We ran, we were as regular can be.
Mm-hmm.
And I fully understand, Mayor and Council, that, you know, you probably hiring 3 people, you're not gonna do that. I do say that, you know, right now, we do struggle trying to keep up throughout the city with all the grass cutting, especially with these new parks coming online. It's gonna be a challenge. We're gonna do it one way or another. I got a good group of guys. They get burned out like everybody else, but when I ask them to do something, they go do that. And, but, you know, the staff, as we grow, we're gonna need more people. There's no doubt about that. And, you know, that's probably the biggest thing I could ask for is that.
I think my part of it, I see, is if there's an expertise that's needed, be it a plumber or an electrician, you need to find a way to accommodate that, whether if you have 5 people, you eliminate one and bring in a plumber, electrician type guy, or you add. But those are the 2 that I would look at probably with somewhat serious. I'm not sure about that.
Well, there's another thing too there, Mr. Wolf, is anybody that comes to work out here, if you look at the job titles, the last thing it says on the position. So you're gonna do more than just plumb, you're gonna do more than just electrician, you're gonna do anything that you're required to do to make the city look good or take care of it.
That's my point. You're looking for expertise.
Absolutely.
That plumber might have to mow that part.
Plumber might be out mowing grass if there's no plumbing going on, and there's a very good likelihood that he would be doing that.
Right, so it's not hiring an electrician to do electrical.
That's right. He's gonna be doing pretty much everything, but we do need somebody with that electrical skill, we do need somebody with a plumbing skill that, you know, it can help with that stuff, so.
Well, here's my suggestion. I think we need a skid steer. How much it cost?
A new one, Mayor, is about $60,000, but now we don't have to have a new one, I told.
What'd you put in the budget?
Doug, I put 60,000 in there, and if we could find one for 40 or 35, I'm willing to go
I
that
think we
way.
need a new mower.
Need a new mower.
You're on page 20.
I didn't quite get to those yet. I was just doing staff. I think.
Oh,
Unless you want to.
I don't know where we are.
I'm on road.
I want to get through
6, you go to 20, all those numbers are there.
But,
Oh, I didn't go far enough back.
you know, we can.
That's all right. I'm gonna finish. I started. I'm gonna finish. Skid steer, mower, park superintendent, and the admin assistant. Park superintendent, you take a plumber, electrician, and park superintendent. Surely you can find somebody that can multitask
Well, I think,
and hire one person instead of 3.
Well, I think Doug recommended the park superintendent to be the harbor master and to handle all of that. That person, whoever we hire for that, would kind of be
The
able to.
electrician or the plumber.
Yeah. Well, you know,
It's okay.
You're $62 there to work with.
they need to be, the harbor master needs to be able to have some electrical skills, so when those breakers kick out, I don't have to come from Powell City to put them back. I fully agree.
All right, so I see your direction. Okay, so the plumber electrician, we can put in a wish list for another time.
And to the park superintendent. When you hire somebody, say, hey,
Make sure they can do a.
that's right. Well, make sure they change the dang breaker.
I
That's
got it.
right.
And
Absolutely.
they should, absolutely, just like Tommy should. All right, got it. Admin assistant, appreciate that. The next slide, Tommy, is.
I think we're still going.
We're going back. I'm going back to.
I'm getting back to. I had it in my head and I just went with
I'm
it.
getting back to the equipment.
With expertise versus.
All right. How far is it to the moon? This is just, I need to prove a point here, just so you guys, so the next part of this thing can go.
This is a quiz?
Yeah, it's a quiz. How far do you think it is to the moon? Just ballpark.
I understand. I don't know, you got.
You already went down, you went ahead on 235,000 miles. And it just, How many square miles is Mexico Beach? You think about 2.34 miles. I'm gonna pass out one thing so you can see it for yourself here. Just pass out, pick one and pass it around. Tommy just said a minute ago, we're gonna tell everybody to do what they're gonna do, and that's what they do. They handle business here like nobody's ever seen, but I gotta show you what their offices look like. These offices are these. So just back to my question, 235,000 miles to the moon. We got 25 vehicles in our total fleet, right?
I don't know.
As we do. They have a combined mileage of over 1.8 million miles, our 25 vehicles. 1.8 million miles.
Somebody drive this truck I'm looking at with the seat missing?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
Is that
sir.
that
Nearby all the trucks.
That's a
in
mileage.
the shape of what you're looking at there.
We could have gone to the moon 7 times in our vehicles. We've had them for so many miles. And I'm not counting the dump truck that I just got the other day that showed up with miles on it, or we're not counting all those. But I'm not even counting the trash trucks. These are just the vehicles we drive around on a daily basis. But those are the vehicles that we currently operate. We thought about a big fanfare, putting them out here and let you go look at them one-on-one. But you see them driving around town. I know you do. I think we got to start going towards vehicle replacement. Before times got tough with some of our supply and demand stuff, I thought a leasing program might work, but you can't get a lease. There's not a single car to be found in a parking lot anywhere in Bay County, it seems like. So used vehicles have been working out. There's a government auction site, government auctions that we can go to. There's also a government site that we can purchase vehicles off of at a cheaper rate for the city. So I proposed going forward some of these positions you'll see on the next slide here. I just highlighted some of the vehicles that we're using daily. That chicken in the bottom right-hand corner, I've never heard a chicken called that. But in that bottom right-hand corner is probably our best truck. Not best truck, but we utilize it for almost anything. They're cutting trees, they're doing everything in that thing. And look at, if you see the way some of those things look, we can do a better job presenting ourselves to the residents of Mexico Beach. And by that, what we've done is I've been begging since I got here for a dump truck. We got it. I've been begging for more vehicles. The sheriff's office give me one. They got another one possibly coming. It's hard to ask for a gift horse for another truck, but we get those kind of things and we can find them for use. I just need to get some money set aside to be able to buy that. So
Most of the trucks that we're driving now are 2004 models. That's the average of what the trucks are. I've got one of the newer trucks and it's a 2016. That's one of the newest that we've got. 16, 17. And other than that, they're all 2004s, 2005, 2006s. And
This is a common theme discussion. And we have let ourselves, for good reason, because we haven't been able to budget appropriately, in my opinion, in several years. We've been scared to budget.
well, Mayor, the guys that complain. They drive them and we got a good guy that picks them up.
I understand. I'm just saying that when you get this far behind, it's just one of those things that we're going to have to find a way to get. We might not buy it all in 1 year, but we got to buy it.
I need to bring it to your attention that some of the stuff that has to happen, whether it's an opportunity to buy some used ones that are in good shape or one new one and a couple of used ones, that's what I'm going to present to you today. Get some ideas and a way to put some funds aside. We have funds in our general budget that we can put there to pay for that. We have the ARPA money that we've received and set aside that we can use for purchase of those type of things. There's funding that we can do. I'm not telling you we need to buy 12 of them. I would never ever ask for that. But you have to start somewhere. And some of these vehicles, the maintenance. We paid $2,700 the other day to have the transmission fixed in Garrett's truck that we got for free. And then there was another one that's got a blown head gasket the other day because it was running too hot. That's the one Johnny flipped in the ditch. Just somehow Troy saved it back then. The guys have just been.
Troy's done a good job.
There's no question that it's time to look at this realistically, and it's not easy to swap, but it needs to happen.
I do have concern about used vehicles though, because we've been caught time and time
I'm glad you
again
brought that up.
with used vehicles.
Oh my Lord.
We spend more money fixing used vehicles than we just put on new ones.
I understand. It's just 6 months to get it done.
We thought that government surplus thing, that was the greatest thing since sliced bread.
The only thing I agree with you. I agree with you. But the only thing that I can say about that is trash. Only thing I can say about that is now these lease programs that have been running for 3 or 4 years, when you were talking about that before, they're all coming off lease, and they're selling perfectly good trucks at this auction. This local guy, John Sewell, runs that local auction, and I go look at some of those. He's the one.
He'll sell you some eggs and a chicken.
Yeah. But I'm telling you, they're coming off these leases, and they're a little bit better quality. So if we can't, if whatever the direction is for you guys, we just have to figure out a way, and that was my proposal. So Tommy, continue to go through. So we're on page 20, guys.
Let's try to conclude on it.
Don't turn that page, Mary. We're on page 20. Tommy was going down the list. The dredge hose was something we have to have every year. I thought it could be paid out of canal funds as opposed to the general fund, since there's money over there. We also received money back this year from Kimberly to pay for that. One of the sets of hose we had to buy. The kayak launch pads has $60,000 in it. Number 30 of that is a grant to go after. The other 30 is impact fees to utilize to pay for that other part. I recommend that we continue to go forward with that. We don't have to spend it until you guys say yay. The zero turn mower, Tommy thought we could get a pretty good one for $10,000, commercial grade. So we put that in there for that. We have to continue to replace those each year. Citywide street paving and ongoing maintenance, I discussed that earlier about a plan moving forward to take care of our streets and bidding process for somebody to take care of them just like other places do. The skid steer with a bucket, I put $60,000 in there because it's a new one. We could get a used one for 30 grand and maintain it. We could get a $60,000 one that's going to last for quite a long time with our staff. 5 sheds. During the storm, you lost the 5 sheds that the maintenance department had for public works. We're recommending putting those back. What that does is that helps us with maintaining our tools. It gives the people in place to put their equipment. A lot of stuff walks away, not that it's going anywhere, but somebody puts it in a different truck, they can't find it, they gotta go buy another one, whatever, however that happens. So the sheds would allow us to keep things a little bit more maintained and in one locked up spot. Low speed.
5?
They have 5 ridges.
Each department had its own shed, and I'm not saying put back the big ones like what we had. We could go with a lot smaller, probably half that size, but that's just like Tim and Andy the other day. They put stuff in their truck because it's the only place they have to put it, their blower or whatever they got, and then somebody comes and borrows it out, and then they've got to go hunt it down. If we had the sheds back, they could lock their equipment up in that shed, and then they know where it's at.
If you think we need to start with 3 or however it works out by the end of the year, but that would allow them to split it up, Parks and Rec, everybody would have their own, and they can maintain their stuff that way, so that's the ask. The low-speed vehicle would help us a lot. Tommy could probably explain that better with trash on the beach cans and things like that. We don't have a vehicle for getting around. We have to borrow one. Maybe Mr. Smith or somebody lets us borrow one from the neighbors, or we have a volunteer come in with their cart to help us, or Mary's dad lets us use one. I mean, we'd have something in that neighborhood, we could use it at our event. So
yeah, and we used to have one. The road department had a side-by-side, kind of like what Marty's got, and we used it to pick up trash out on Timble, back on the side of the roads and stuff like that. So it'd be nice to have if we could get that back. Yeah, we did used to have one of those.
the pole barn I put in here, this is continuing to rebuild our park at Parker Park. This is a pole barn in a concrete slab that was in the design that was approved by the residents. Somewhere nice to have some shade. I think the restrooms back, it'd be nice to have some shade there next to the playground that we got for free. So that would be a good addition to Parker Park. That's what that's for. The used vehicle, I put $15,000 for a used vehicle. I wasn't trying to buy a $3,000 one that you could find on Craigslist or something. I was trying to get a pretty good one, but utility truck with the body in the back, similar to the one that's here. It's got what they can store their tools inside of. Approximately $40,000 if I can get one anytime soon. It'll be that. The other used vehicle was for general maintenance. Remember, if we're going to add a new parks superintendent, that person's going to have a vehicle. So that was one of the newer ones that we would have there. So that's the breakdown of those. So I'll take any direction related to public works capital.
And one thing I would bring up on the vehicles, a year ago, Troy took 2 4-wheel drive vehicles out of service because the undercarriage of them were rusty completely out, and he was scared to get out on the road with them, somebody was going to get killed. So we took those out of service, and I think they were auctioned off. We did get a little money out of those. We've got the dually that sits out here now by the gas pumps. Same thing with it. Troy said it's not even worth putting the money in trying to get it fixed. Transmission issues, it's rusted completely out. And then, of course, the truck that Jonathan turned over in the ditch, that truck's got a blown head gasket. That's one of the little Ford Rangers. It's completely wore out. So he said basically we're taking that. So right now there's 2 more vehicles in the yard that he is took out of service that he does not recommend even putting them back on, trying to fix them, put them back on the road. So we are several vehicles down from what we used to have.
My calculation is 3, sir. We did get $19,000 back that went into the fund for surplus that we traded when we sold off the auction of vehicles. Sandy worked with them, I think it's $16,000 to $19,000 for the ones he took out of service. We could get a little bit more for that dually to sell, but it's completely rusted underneath. But
Let me, I don't always seem to go first, but I seem like I am, so I'm gonna, here's my list. Dredge hose, zero turn mower, skid steer, 5 sheds, and take those last 3 items, used vehicle, new truck, used vehicle, and make that number $100,000.
and you get what you get.
Excuse me?
And get what you get.
And get what you get.
We went from 70 to 100.
You can't find a decent
You
used
can't
truck.
even buy one truck for 70.
Well, but my point being, we gotta give him we gotta give him something to work with.
I understand.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Didn't we just buy the dredge hose? We buy one every year?
What I do?
We bought a dredge hose, I know, last
Yes.
year.
Yeah, Kimberly reimbursed us for that. Yeah, the dredge hose is one of those things and the mayor can say that, you may get 6 months out of it, you may get six years, but if it gets torn or gets a bunch of holes in it, then we have to replace it.
The zero turn, the zero turn, is that used for calculator?
No, that's actually, the last one we purchased was about 8,000, so we figured with inflation like it is now, to buy another one's probably gonna be 10,000. But we bought a nice commercial grade 3-year warranty for $8,000.
The Hustler one.
The Hustler.
Can I, are you ready?
Yeah,
I agree. I don't think we can spend $70,000 on 3 vehicles. You can't buy nothing for that anymore. The dredge hose, put me down. The zero turn mower, the skid steer with a bucket. I knew we could beat that price. Really we can, but then again, you know, buying the new one against the used one, you might have trouble.
Yeah, a used one's fine, Jerry. I have no qualms.
It
It don't have to be new. We just had to come up with a number to present to you guys. If we can find one for $30,000 that's in good shape, I'm good with that.
I don't like buying junk though.
Yeah. No, we need to get something Troy don't have to
We can
work
use,
on.
we can use that skid steer for a lot of stuff. So.
And the sheds, I don't know about that. I can see why you want them, but, what do we do with them now? What we do with stuff now? We don't have sheds. We don't put it out here in the barn, put it out here. We just put it somewhere.
The skid steer?
No, the sheds.
Oh, the sheds.
Five
Yeah, we
sheds.
would put them along back along the fence.
What do we do with the stuff right now that would go in those sheds?
Yeah, we would put them out here.
No, Tommy. What would we do with the stuff that would go in those sheds?
Oh, right now, it's placed in everybody's offices, it's placed in their truck, behind the seats of the truck, in the bed of the truck, out here in Troy's Way.
I mean,
All of our equipment is out here in Troy's Way right now.
I know what I'm saying, there's a bunch of stuff out here, so.
Fire departments in
that'd be my list.
Others? Go ahead.
The 5 sheds, I was a little on the fence with this. I thought we were moving into this building at City Hall, but I get it, it makes sense. Citywide street paving and ongoing maintenance, being that directly correlates to paving and maintenance, should we leave it in? And if we do a project, we do a project, if we don't, we don't, because it doesn't really affect our, so should we put it
I mean,
in?
they got it line item, but technically it doesn't affect.
Yeah, so do we want to leave that in?
I think, I don't know,
We have,
I don't know why you really would put it in there.
Okay.
To be honest with you, we've got the money.
we have $840,000 in the paving and maintenance designated fund. So
And we just have to do a budget amendment.
All you have to do is say, hey, we're gonna pay, we need to pay, I need $100,000 and here's what we want to pay, we're gonna take it out of that. And you just do it, instead of, this can muddy the water a little bit doing it this way.
okay. I was thinking about generally if we had like small cuts on the roads
It's
instead of whole
coming-
streets.
It's coming out of money that is dedicated for it. So it really doesn't need to be.
Yes, but if we put it in, we can prevent the budget amendment if we do decide to do it.
Even if you gave $50,000, and if something came greater
You
than
can't
that.
avoid the budget amendment if you, sometimes this can be interpreted as.
It's $350 to move somewhere else.
That's right.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Okay, I wasn't thinking about that. All right.
But that's up to the count, I mean, I guess in the split a hair with it and.
If a project comes, we'll move it.
Well, I can bring paving plans back to you on a basis as we need them. I have no problem. That's a good idea. I mean, if we
Do it that way, and
if
that
we
way.
need to fix Hatley Drive, I can bring you the price on that. We go.
We all get a chance to say how you gonna pay for it.
Okay. Gotcha.
And the kayak launch, was that grant related?
Yeah, it's matching funds for a grant, and I was using the money from impact fees to pay for it.
So we wouldn't spend it unless we got the grant?
And you guys would have to approve it, yes, before we spend it.
Is that
No, you can move that to.
Every time we say impact fee, we need to use it for something like
Like a big circle.
Yeah.
All right, so
Do that.
I don't know that I mean, I can go for the full 30, and if I get 15 or if I get 10, I can come back and ask you for matching funds on a kayak launch if we get it.
Yeah, I think that's a special project I just don't see that being in the budget.
Okay. No, I can. I'll bring it back. We can apply for it, and I can come back for you if we want to get it. If we've received the grant, and you guys, and I'll bring to you that we received the grant. If we find a way to pay for it, if you say no, we don't want to do it, then we don't have to do it.
I like that.
I can still play with the grant.
It makes these numbers more real.
Understood.
That's bad news, that everything we cut was dedicated money, everything we cut such dead for.
Well, I know, and it's easy to cut it that way. So it
Yeah.
makes it, but still, it was, he had it figured in him.
I did. I have no problem with that
Are
direction.
you or Debbie or Tammy's not, but are you on somebody keeping up with what we're doing?
Debbie and
I am.
Yeah, I am too.
I knew you were, I was just cheating.
I'm honestly,
All right.
She's
You've
watching
been
it.
awful quiet. All right, Tommy, thank you. You did, that's a good job. Everybody, let's go, good job. Okay?
All right, thank you for that direction. Next, I got a quick presentation. We have Kathy Lyons here to come, and she's excited about speaking. It's a short one. I prefaced it a little bit earlier, but code enforcement.
Code enforcement. Well, my employees, which is me, I've been here for 2.5 years, believe it or not. It's gone by quick.
It's a record for.
It's a longest-serving code officer.
You get the longevity.
I think we've moved quite a bit. We've got the new RV policy, which is doing well. We've got 5 that are still paying on a monthly basis until October. Some people do try to sneak in and just put them on people's driveways or whatever. But I'm doing a good job trying to track them down. I will chase after them. If I see them going down the highway, I'll turn around and take off after them. Make sure they either go on down to Gulf County or one of the other RV parks. Demos, we've got that. I've got that almost all done. We've got 3 or 4 with special master. The last 3 or 4.
3 cases right now.
So as soon as he gets everything done, then they'll be hopefully on getting out of here. Because I've tried working with the people and they just stop cooperating, so I just pass it on to special master. I've been trying to work. I think one of the ways that I was able to help with the city is because I didn't take that mean approach. I just tried to work with everybody, talk to them. You know, well, what was it take to make you get it done? You know, how long will it take you? So I have to report. And I think that's kind of worked to our benefit. May not have gotten done as quick as we wanted it to, but at least it got done. And they still like us. But one of these days, I really would love to retire again. So you just might want to keep that in your hat.
Veto.
I'm too old to be keeping up with this job.
So some of the problems we're having.
I want to just say, you standing here in this environment, you've done a remarkable job.
Yes, you
Thank
A
you.
remarkable job. the storm created a lot of, we don't ask, we'll just do, and our town fell into disarray, and your personality just fit the bill, because we didn't want to be jerks, and the more we tried, you ran into, you just can't be nice to everybody. You
No,
know,
some-
unfortunately, you can't do that. But I want to just say, your approach is something I salute.
Thank you.
And has been served as well.
Thank you. I mean, when I
We
took
don't
the job,
mind you retiring again, but not anytime.
Not yet.
I'm hoping to. I mean, when I took the job, I didn't even know what code enforcement was. No clue.
So I'm curious, have you completed any formal,
No, sir.
I can't think of, they have a
Certification.
Certification.
Yeah, for FACE. Yeah, she's working with a local organization here. They stopped meeting in person for a while, but she does have it on her agenda to go to those. The local organization for Bay County has a group, so, but it hasn't been.
And I don't know after your accomplishments that having a certification makes it any better. It makes the credentials on your resume, which you are evidently better.
Not anymore.
That's what Kathy and I talked about prior to this meeting was her ability to negotiate with some of the folks on the call is
People skills.
go to their house and knock on the door, not just send them a bad letter or pound the badge in their face or something. But, so she's done a great job with that. So, but while she's here, I do want to talk a little bit more about some of the needs that we have. A part-time code officer, we do need to be thinking about the growth in the future. We can use some funding to pay for the vehicle that we might need for this new code officer to come from an impact fee, building fees, building permit fees, and that's what I've suggested. But the part-time officer would be a 20 hours. It would cover us on the nights, weekends, and holidays. I think we have a lot of people coming in doing work on the weekends in and out that we don't get to see, or we have RVs sneaking in and out that not everybody sees. But it'd be nice to have 7 days of coverage, and I think that would help us, like at the boat ramp, things of that nature. So that was a recommendation for a part-time staff.
The vacation would be nice.
That too. When she goes away, there's nobody left. So it puts us in a little bit of a bind.
And my feeling in that area, I think the biggest thing, code enforcement, obviously, you've done a lot of different things throughout the city, but one of them that's pretty visual to me lately is the boat ramp and how her involvement is in the boat ramp. I'm not sure that should continue, but if it does continue, I think we have to have some type of plan to have somebody there on the weekends. So whenever
We approved that earlier, didn't we?
Park superintendent would oversee the boat ramp as well, the harbor master of the park. So that would be, their schedule would include weekends one way or another. Whoever I hire will be Wednesday through Sunday. If that gets approved. If that's, somehow they're going to be working on weekends, whatever the schedule may be.
Can we tie all that in together?
Not
Part-time code enforcement at the same time?
I don't think
I could use a plumber or an electrician.
use the body more than anything, to be honest. But
Great negotiator.
I'd be messing with the woman. What if you vote,
she mentioned a good thing I didn't even mention to her, but if she leaves, or she just says, hey, I've had 2 bad days in a row with the retirement, you might want to be done. We need to be thinking about, continuation of services and somebody to work along. Maybe it's another retired person that works along her side to understand how to do the job the way she's been able to do it.
When we brought in Vanessa, wasn't she part-time ago?
She helps with what she does is allows Kathy to be in the field more because she does the paperwork in the office. So she'll send out letters and correspondence and phone calls and stuff like that, but not, that's correct though, part of her salary, part of it comes out of code enforcement.
So we voted earlier to have coverage at the boat ramp.
We didn't vote it. This is nothing voting. We just, everyone seemed to think that the, quote, what do you call it? Park superintendent or whatever was a good.
This is informal in and out.
I hope what we're doing, Debbie and Doug, is maybe not confirming anything, but for sure taking things out.
Correct. So then when I come back, you'll
Then
see
we'll
a
come back and
big chunk of
do it
money.
again.
Yeah.
I'm more happy with that.
I think the parks is separate from what we would get out of a code officer. I think a part-time code, if I could find somebody for $15 an hour, a retired person that lives local in Mexico Beach, I think it would be a win for us.
It would be, but you know what?
Yes, I know what.
Ain't gonna work.
I won't work.
Nope.
I won't work. Is that a need?
Yeah, I think we need two people one day. I mean, I thought we'd start slow with the 1.5. I mean,
Well,
We had a half, and then we went to, when did we go full?
that's because we had a revolving door.
Yeah, we had to go full.
We couldn't find anything, and what we found, they pissed everybody off, and then we, well, we did. That's what happened.
I think Kim was a code
I think
enforcer.
there was a vote.
We had the guy, they flashed the badge when they walked into the house, and, I mean, it was,
remember that.
it was.
That's our community policing is what we're shooting
But,
for.
Doug, I'm just gonna say, and to Kathy, thank you, but I have no, to expand the code department at this time, I'm not ready. That's me.
Anybody else?
I'll concur.
Okay, we got two, you got any?
My only input is, this boat ramp thing, I mean, all of us have been down there and seen it. I mean, there's a lot that goes on there, and when there's 5 people in there directing traffic, it's all okay. But you go down there on a weekend when there's nobody down there, there's a lot going on in there.
Well, if we end up approving the park guy, the Wednesday through Sunday, that's part of her assignment.
That's true.
I'm good with that. if
In
that's all
addition
you're
to
saying.
plumbing and electrical. I've got covered.
You're right. I mean, you moved all that.
Jack of all trades.
That's
what
what
I
I'm
figured.
just saying. Look, we can have a wish list too. We don't have, we don't do that. I put $10 on.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Go ahead, Bob.
Just a little bit of this, as a part-time or whatever. Everybody knows on weekends, people come in and does stuff they're not supposed to do.
True.
We don't have anybody overlooking that.
We do a lot of that after 5 too.
And that's what this would be too. Nights, weekends, 3 days, all of that kind of stuff. I mean, there's people that are sneaking in with. I mean, you guys message me and get a picture, and we deal with it as we get them when they come in. But for the cost and how it's paid for, Debbie, I believe we were paying for that out of building permit money.
Yeah, the code car and the arcade.
Well, the building permit money now is, you gotta be careful there.
It's got
Right, but it's more.
We've been there.
Yeah, because the auditors wrote us up the last 2 years, remember, because, the way that it was being accounted for, so,
we fixed that.
their recommendation was to use it to fund, salaries, equipment, and, operational costs for the code force.
On a cycle where we have the years, they have to be used in 4 years, right?
Yeah, for the community cost total of the last 4 years. And if we fund this, plus the car, plus the current budget, we'll exceed what we're collecting this year, and it'll be like $130,000 or $40,000. So we'll eat up 100% what we collect this year, plus some prior money.
Why just the code department?
Well, I've got some other stuff coming in the building.
It's whatever the building department does with the building department. So if we had a building department or planning and zoning, we could use it for some of that as well.
What about the park superintendent?
And there's no direct correlation between the building department permits and if you're talking about, now, if they do park code enforcement, you could. If you're saying that they're gonna do, for our code, you could offset their salary by a portion with building.
Big circle, David, big circle.
Oh, at the bottom.
Can we think about that and come back to us?
We're thinking about it.
Sure.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Can we think about it and come back?
Yeah.
So we're thinking about 2 parts and recreation.
One's an electrician and one's a plumber.
Kathy will come up.
Rich's circle's bigger than mine, okay. Thank you.
All right.
All right, Doug, you make enough notes on that?
We got a big one, big circle.
Need another pen?
Big circle. It's a big hazy circle. All right. Keep the fun going here. You can
Gotta have a little.
you can see the organizational chart, which is the next one, recognizing the council, directing all the way down. So this is our current setup. This is part of our pay classification plan, is the organizational chart. It's what new employees get, so they understand what the city has to offer internally. This is our existing floor plan, if you want to call it, for what we have in our departments and the hierarchy. The next page goes into the wish list that was presented to you, which the next person to discuss would be the, I guess I can go ahead and do it now. The Development Services Director. So in the middle of the screen in purple, you see Development Services Director. I have set aside money that also comes out of that big circle of code enforcement and building money for code enforcement, for planning. Person in charge of planning. So based on a conversation yesterday, maybe that might be changing a little bit with EPCI, but lately we haven't had anybody in there that can answer any questions on a daily basis in a planning aspect. So as we continue to grow in development, we do have new people that are on board with the planning company that does our planning contract stuff, which is through P&Z and development review. We also now have a floodplain manager. We have Dewberry through engineering. So picture this person that's a development services person that's like a project manager for all those projects. So my recommendation was to hire one of those. Maybe we get somebody that's fresh out of college, or maybe 2 years out of college, that's an associate planner or something of that nature, that can do the land development code process and then oversee those departments as more of a project manager for each one of those projects as a go-to, as opposed to they directly go to me. This person would supervise all those folks. That's my recommendation, is the addition of that position. It doesn't require any kind of vehicle or anything. It's just salaries that we can utilize out of building funds, which we have. Where that page went.
So on that one, I can tell everybody here that however can be heard, that's my number one. That's the one I think we need more than anything, especially given Hurricane Michael and the growth we have happening. And let's forward think instead of every time we have something come up, we get yelled at right about the same things, and have somebody on staff that can help us plan our future.
If you look back at page 9, not to interrupt you, I'm sorry. Page 9 identifies the dollar figure for that. It's a $30 an hour employee, approximately $62,000 a year, with taxes and everything.
Page what?
Page 9 has the complete amount of positions that we just went through. So you can see the dollar figure associated with that person that would oversee that. So building permit money could pay that. We have identified funds that we can use going forward to pay for that. I believe it would have.
Where would this person live?
In City Hall. This person would oversee EPCI, the floodplain contractor, the Dewberry. This person would go between with myself as well to oversee each one of those. They would present at our meetings for P&Z, at the council meetings. You get professional packages from a planner who is trained to read the land development code. You would have your own person, 24 hours, 5 days a week, 8 to 5 for sure. I plan on this being a salary position, would be in the office that could answer phone calls, do meetings, get a building contractor from EPCI or plan reviewer to come meet with them, whatever they had to do. To keep all those in order.
Navigate through.
We could even come up with a way where they have that one-stop shop permit day, where you can come in and get your water heater permit in a second on the spot. I mean, we could do so much more if we had our own person. And that's where I was getting at when I started this. We did have a good conversation with EPCI yesterday about more staff here to help us. That's been kind of a, I don't know, sticking spot. I'm not saying get rid of any EPCI money or people, but somebody to oversee that, to keep a thumb on it more. That's my recommendation.
Have our interests in mind instead of big picture.
Wear a city shirt. I mean, answering the door wearing a city shirt.
Where's that money come? I mean, I didn't go back. Seeing where we get that money from?
Debbie, how much do we go to? Well, we've got
Where's general fund money coming from?
we got building. It's building permit money is what I've factored in this. So Debbie, please.
Oh, okay.
Well, we would, if we're gonna fund code enforcement in that position and then the part-time code enforcement, we would run out of money next year.
We already cut $70,000.
So what?
We already cut $70,000 in code enforcement for a car and a person. So we're not.
So we run out of building permits to fund all of that.
When? 3 years.
Next year.
But more money comes in to fund that.
Unless we continue to collect $120,000 a year, if that's the expectation. Because we collected $55,000 just from St. Joe this year, so,
Phase
that's
one.
that's a big development that we're not gonna get too many more votes.
Well, they've got 900 houses they're building. They got Sweetwater that's on the hook. They got all these other smaller ones. There's growth that's exponentially happening that needs a professional project manager that does it, in my opinion. And if we can get that and continue to do that through our contractors, so be it. We have pass-through rates that we bill those developers. I'm working on a plan to bring that back with you in any data, any meeting coming up. I've got numbers coming back that's being reviewed by Dina's company, as well as Dewberry just got it back to me yesterday. So how we charge those developers going forward for the hourly rate. So if you bring in a major development that needs review, the hourly rates that they put into that, bill back the developer. We haven't been at that point before. We're at that point now to cover ourselves. I think we cover it.
My whole concern is how we pay for it. On that, and I'm not saying we do or do not need that position, but I don't know how we're going to pay for it.
You know, Doug, you ever been to Marshall Cafeteria? You remember that? You remember Marshall? Where you line up with your tray, and put a lot of stuff on, you get it in, pay for it, and go over it. You usually don't need it all. I like your mindset. I am concerned about ad valorem tax. We had a 32% increase in evaluation, and we aren't lowering the millage. Okay?
I understand.
Now, having said that, I like your mindset. I like that we're not looking through the crack in the door. We're trying to look outside the door. I like that. We've seldom, as this city, been faced with what we're dealing with and what we see. I mean, you can't be blind to what's happening here in terms of growth and the city needs. To balance that with ad valorem tax is a difficult thing for ad, okay? We can't change who we are. We're an ad valorem tax. That's how the general fund operates. And I like this position. And I agree with it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask you, for me, to pencil it in.
That's all I needed was a door
And
open.
come back when we get through today, and let's see where we are money-wise. I know this is the first shot out of the bucket. I'm not trying to I don't want to say no to everything, because we need a lot of stuff.
It's all I needed.
Never been to Marshall's, you understand what
I think it was called, where I came from, I think it was called Duff's or something.
I want to circle the wax.
I understand. So, as we get through the positions, now that we've talked about all the positions, if I could go ahead.
Yeah.
Temporarily in the budget to come back for the next view, you would see in there an admin assistant, a development services manager director, a park superintendent, who is also an electrician, a plumber, a code enforcement.
All of them.
Yeah. The rest of the list will be that person, so I hope they're qualified. So that, at this point, that's what you'd see. I know you're feeling on the firefighter. I really think that advancement for us, it would help us in the long run, so we don't get caught with a big price tag. If I could continue to show you that, and then you could cut it at a later date, I think it's a viable conversation for what the fire department does for us. And you can still cut it if I could show you how to pay for it going forward. A creative way. Inside the budget, maybe there's money.
Others might want to see that. I don't know.
Well, for me, the development service one is number one, even before a parks person. I hope we can find out.
I think what was the first, you said, give me the first one was administrative assistant?
That would assist the public works and utilities department. Somebody,
Okay.
During Tommy's presentation.
Yes.
customer service, billing, all that kind of stuff, all in one.
I guess we see the development service director as a full-time position, long-term versus because of the situation we're in currently.
It's a salary position, you know, it's at that level, you get a professional.
And to go back to a question from the mayor, where the admin assistant, where are they going to live?
Here,
In this building?
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, in this building?
Yeah.
The admin assistant, not the plant.
For the utilities and public works, they're right
Oh,
over there.
yeah,
I was just making sure that was.
yes.
Clear out one of these parks and recs and put it in the shed that you think I can get, but they'll be regular.
Okay, that's,
And we'll make more room.
well, you had mentioned billing and stuff in your explanation. I was going, wait, are we going across the street or are we going here?
No.
Okay.
One more time, give me the list of employees.
Admin
Admin assistant.
assistant for utilities and public works, development services director, park superintendent. And I'd like to include a firefighter for a future discussion, if I can show you how to pay for it.
Okay.
If I can show you how to pay for it, I'd like to include it. You can still cut it.
I'm not the mayor, I think, wow. I reckon 15.
Put it in and show us.
Put it in and show us.
That's all I need to-
That's,
It's all it needs a crack. I can get. I just
we don't need, I'll tell you, and I don't think Sandy or any of these folks made the presentation. This isn't
Oh, I know.
them personally standing there. We recognize what they do, and we recognize that we have a job to do to answer to the citizens when it comes to what we're going to tell them to go collect from them. And so we can't have any thin-skinned people in here. Okay, that's what I don't want that act.
I don't think that was what was going on.
Well,
I just think
the longer you keep it in the pan, it's harder to chew.
Okay.
Yeah, the hard part is that a lot of our
Come up with some
part-time or on-calls don't live here anymore either, so I get that.
He comes up with some good ones, doesn't he? It's public safety to me, and I think that it's worth a look. And if I can come up with a way to pay for it,
All right, we succumb.
thanks very much. All right, so back to page 20. Unless you want to talk about the vehicles again. Right now, we're going to move on to Mr. Glenn Davis. We're going to move into our enterprise funds. Actually, let's do. No, we hit all the vehicles. Never mind. You gave me the dollar figure. I understand.
We moving from general fund?
Yeah, we're going into 26.
Right,
Page 26.
I've got a presentation
Oh, okay. Sorry.
before we get to enterprise.
Yeah.
Okay, under, if you would, turn to, the first page, the second page of the big sheets. City council. I am proposing, because this can get, it's not a department, I'm making it a proposal for me. I am proposing that we treat city council members as city employees. In 2007, the city joined the FRS. At that time, elected officials were excluded. It has been moving on 15 years now. The city has changed. The role of this person that occupies these chairs has changed, and I think it is time that we as a city move toward putting elected officials and recognizing them in compensation and benefits that are equal to every employee that we've talked about here today. You'll notice in the 2023 requested budget versus that 46.8 represents the salaries that exist today. That's nothing new. The retirement is not in. Am I the only one that's got one of these sheets, or do we make any copies of this?
That was your presentation.
No, but do we have copies? Do we have a copy machine here? Get 4 or 5 copies of that. I apologize. I should have brought it. No, well, I don't want to. That's why I'm fixing to give you some. I won't do this because we're on the general fund budget, not enterprise fund budget. I just want to show everybody what I'm proposing. Danny, you have a copy to make sure that when I do this, that I do it right?
I do. I'll follow along.
Thank you. Thank you, Tommy. Stand up, do that. Just pass those out to everybody. This, what you're going to get is a copy of, if you just sort of think of it as laying it right over this top of this page, you'll get a feel for what I'm talking about. Okay. If the city approves elected officials becoming part of the FRS system, you will see under retirement, it says 24,065. The first 2 numbers don't change. They're the same today as they will be then. Okay. I'm also recommending, I do not think elected officials need to have access to health insurance plan. It is very expensive. So I'm recommending a $200 stipend toward insurance, which makes that's where that $12,000 comes from. If you took 5 of us at $200 a month, that comes to $12,000 a year. If we were to be allowed to join the health insurance, city health insurance, it would probably be close to 4 times that much.
Family coverage.
Probably more than that. It's just so the retirement and the health insurance are the 2 numbers that will equate to the difference in the elected officials becoming employees in terms of recognized for compensation. And I'm just going to preface this. My thought process is that I know of no healthy, successful organization or healthy, successful company where the people who are asked to lead that are the least compensated people in the organization. It is clear to me through the years that it is time that what we expect from this table, that they be held accountable. And one way of accountability to me is through compensation. This is no different. By the way, this is considerably less than any community around us. And I'm not one on big on Frank got it, so we all get it. I'm not big on that. I think when you play for the love of the game, it only takes you so far. And back in 07, that's what the council wanted to do. They felt like that, you're elected official, you just, you do it from the heart. And you do. I don't think any of us here put our name in the hat thinking I mean, some people didn't even know what we made. So, but that's not my point. I think it is absolutely time to recognize and expect more than what you get for just playing for the love of the game. So I am asking the council to consider officially, if we approve the budget, officially allowing elected officials to be employees by terms of FRS and join that system. And a stipend to offset any against the elected officials joining our Cadillac health insurance plan. And I say that because I'm proud we have it, and I'm proud that the employees have it, and I think it's, if you stack that up, they may make 50 cents an hour less, but I can tell you, other places don't have a health insurance plan like the city of Mexico does. And that's just a fact. So, I put that up for discussion. You have the sheet that shows that's roughly 24, 34, 30. David, was that $37,000, give or take?
36.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Did I say all that in terms of those are the two numbers that would be increased in the budget? Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Can I just clarify one thing, sir?
Sure.
And you don't mean, you would, at 10-1, you guys would enter the plan?
Yeah, it's the
October 1.
Yeah, at the end, whenever the budget will take effect. So,
I have questions on the stipend portion. Do we still offer employees who waive insurance a stipend or not?
No, we do not.
We do
no,
not.
I think we quit that. That became an accounting nightmare. If I remember, we ran into problems.
We do not.
If we're gonna add it here, would like to explore giving that option back to staff, that waiving insurance. I don't know.
Say that again?
If we start taking a stipend, I don't know why we wouldn't give that option to an employee who's waiving insurance as well.
This stipend would not require any kind of medical submittal. This is just the money that you get in a paycheck.
Oh yeah, it was never required anything before either. It was just
Making
got
sure.
an extra stipend every month for not having our city insurance, because it's cheaper.
So somebody, but they're required to have insurance, on their own or under somebody else's plan. So you would say, like, if I didn't take family coverage or if I didn't take my own coverage.
If you didn't take health insurance at all, they used to get a stipend.
So you think this would create a preference or a set of standard that any other employee could do?
And I think if we're going to give us a stipend, they should get one too if they're not taking insurance. You know what I mean?
I would prefer not, because then I might run into some sick staff or something that you'd rather have the $200 a month as opposed to paying for the insurance. I mean, in my opinion, I think if I can get that second tier, that would help them for money-wise in their pocket, but you guys are taking
Don't even call it stipend then.
yeah, you guys are taking a big cut by not getting insurance.
Don't even call it a stipend. You could say that one or two things. You could do away with it, or you could say that you would raise the salary.
But they would have an option if you did that. The council is not having an option.
Correct.
That's what it is.
Well, they used to get $100 if they had, so your spouse, you work for the city with your spouse has family coverage, so you don't take the city's health insurance, they got a stipend every month. And then they got rid of that because it was a budgeting nightmare.
Yeah, I feel it's
But it did save the city money.
I mean, you could call it a medical,
I
supplement or
talked to
something
some
like
folks
that.
in other communities about that, because I was gathering information. They do not offer, if you're an employee of the municipality,
You take their use.
you take it or you don't.
Let's just go on that circle.
Good, that's a good point. Maybe that's a bad way to look at that.
I don't think it's a bad way to look at it. I just think that you guys are taking a big hit by not getting $20,000 from medical coverage. So you're getting $200 a month is what you put in here. I mean,
Let me rephrase this. Let me offer either scratch it completely or add it to the salary schedule.
So that would be
And
across the
then
board.
there is no quote stop. If it depends on how we feel about the thing, I want to open it up to how everybody feels about it. I see you, Hank.
Okay.
Debbie, was there any conversation you might have budget-wise about the health insurance stipend? Do you have any input, history, or anything like that?
No, I was clear, like Adrian mentioned that as far as the employee stipends, we did offer that, but it's all council discretion. So, they offered all, or it wouldn't be a great impact. I mean, there's not that many people, I don't think, if you want to offer to employees, but I'm not sure if that's what you asked me or not. But it's all council, it's all the way everyone wants to do. So,
Right now, we don't, right?
We do not.
no, we do not.
I don't want this to stain that water. That wasn't 910 and all. I didn't think of it in terms of if we called it that, they couldn't do it. I didn't think of it that way. So I wouldn't want, I don't even want to call it that anymore.
Just eliminate the word.
Just eliminate the word and make it part of the salary and be done with it. All right, what do we got?
Medical supplement, is that what you're considering?
Well, I'm thinking a lot. I'm digesting.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know what my opinion is.
What
yet.
you got? Go ahead. Let's listen.
With the Florida retirement system, I do not know this. Does someone have to work a certain number of years to then actually be vested in it?
Yes, 6.
So if city council members were to be in that retirement system, would they have to remain on the council and serve for 6 years?
There's 2 plans with the Florida retirement system. You can go to the retirement plan or you go to the investment plan. So you can, Tammy, now if I get out of line, you help me here.
Pension.
Pension plan or investment plan. The investment plan, you are automatically vested after 1 year.
1 year.
So if anyone occupying these chairs at the time they sign up will have to decide what they want to do. That's all. But that would come after anyone sitting here then would meet and talk to the FRS people and say, hey, here's my situation, here's what I want to do, just like the employer do.
And you do get a one chance for change one time. So, for example, you sign up for pension plan and you only want to run 2 years, then you can switch to the investment plan. So you have that.
Point is, you don't lose, nor are you obligated. There's nothing that says you serve for any more terms, just like the terms are now. That doesn't change.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to think out loud, and you all can laugh at this, I think, because it's going to make you all giggle, I think. I'm thinking back on this career politician thing. I don't want to have that happen. Granted, it's Mexico Beach, and I don't know that we have a whole lot of competition to sit up here. Although I had a 3-way race, but that might have just been because it was me. I don't know. But, so I don't know that we would have that problem, but this is me thinking a lot of the things that are going on. Is, are we encouraging people to sit here for 20 years, 30 years? Or is it really not a problem because nobody wants to sit here anyway? So, that's all. Just process.
Get that, but I know you meant what. I don't want to be no career politician. Thank you.
Well, I'm not saying we can't.
Well, there's the other side of that coin.
Debbie, could it be
Yeah,
called?
Mexico-
You don't want people to stay.
And Mexico Beach is a great example of, until just recently, there are, how many times have we had an election?
No
Nobody's
election.
ready?
Exactly.
Many, many times. I viewed doing it, I was apprehensive about this, but I've sat here, not because I've sat here long, because I can draw on getting quality people to get involved in public service.
And encourage them to stay.
Encourage them to stay. It's difficult. It is very difficult. And there's no accountability better to me than doing a good job because you got compensated to do it. I don't care I say, the love of the game only takes you so far. It just, y'all, most of us have been around this town, especially these two, have sat here and seen elected officials just not have the energy or the effort or the, and that's not, it's just, or it wasn't for them. They thought it was and it wasn't for them. Well, if you compensate people, I think it puts it at a different level. I think that raises the game. And I'm trying to, and I'm certainly not here, it's not for me, but moving forward, we need people that'll sit here they'll get involved. They'll understand. They'll want to get out and be they've got to give the administrator good direction. And I think that's a way of doing that. I don't see it as, I just think I can run and run and run. Hell, if y'all do a good job, you won't be here anyway. I mean, the people will take care of that.
And this will entice people to get involved as well.
I hope it does. That was my goal. I think we need that now. We're past that. Old Frank over there, I'm gonna go over there and see Frank Hill run and, that's just signs and facts.
So should I look at some alternate ways to say the health insurance stipend, like a medical supplement or something like that? I mean, you just adjusted the wages. I mean, if somebody had to pay for their own health insurance because they had their own business, that $200 or whatever it is a month would go to help cover those costs. So that is a benefit. You just, maybe there's a different way that we say it instead of a health insurance stipend, but that does attract people.
Well, yeah, and again, I don't mind it being a stipend. I just thought it reminded me of what we
Well,
used
that's
to
a
have.
good point. I
didn't know
want.
But I also don't want to move it back to salaries because then it's now affects our tax line and the retirement.
It makes that bigger. That's what I was getting at.
It does.
Keep it on that line item, not the salary line.
I mean, I can call it what you want to call it. I'll work on that. But if you want to leave it in, you can cut it later.
Is everybody okay with just at least massaging it?
It can stay in this realm. I might have a type speech next time.
Yeah, good. I like that. You could have gone in for it.
I mean, he made a good point.
All right, so we're gonna leave it, massage it, come back to Larry, good? Okay. Moving on.
I had to organize my thoughts.
I like doing that.
So, all right. With that, we're on slide number, let's call it 26 for the Utilities Department. Mr. Glenn Davis.
Glenn, we put you through a lot, man.
He's been hanging out.
I bet he prayed some more.
I hope he prayed for it. We are lucky to have Mr. Davis. He is a double Class A certified water operator.
Yes,
sir. Water and wastewater. I mean, we are lucky to have him tutelage in our folks. So, not only that is he helps you pray a lot.
Hey, we need that too.
Yes, sir.
Chief, did the ISO rate never come back?
Sorry.
ISO rating did it ever come back?
No, not really.
Thank you for working with me. Staff working hard.
Page 26.
We've made a lot of efforts to bring some things up to speed. We've made an effort to reduce overtime. A couple of things we did. I started coming in on weekends, which I have to come every Saturday because of licensing requirement. Fill in Sundays. We removed several auxiliary bypass pumps from lift stations, about 2,000, 2,100, 2,200 a month. We repaired what pumps we could and replaced what new pump. When we had them, we bought one new pump, got it at a real good price. We've made changes to the programming in the high service pump, which turning a hydrant on and off. Doesn't affect our water pressure like it did. Chief will attest to that. It helped us with our ISO rating. But we're working with an aging infrastructure. And we've got some issues that we've got to address. I know that we've got to hand out a little further, but we've got 6 full-time employees in the department. We do the water and wastewater collection system. We maintain these lines, repair, install.
meter locates, just do a lot of different things. But on top of that, we've working with cross-connection control ordinance, consent orders, replacing FEMA meters. We're probably got 25% of those replaced, probably out of the 220 something we've got, almost 60 of them, so we're about 25%. Plus everyday duties, I will say this, and I think it's a good point, I'm not trying to gouge you with it, but an electrician would really be helpful when it comes to pumps and lift stations, and I think you're absolutely right. I don't think you can get a journeyman electrician for what we're talking about, but it is something we put on the table and look at, and I appreciate y'all's input and your considerations of it. We have a lot of floats. We have a Hawk system, alarm system. They need to be familiar with that, and also have single phase and three phase experience along that. No, a lot of things going on. We have 9 single phase stations at some point we want to address. I don't know exactly. You want me to just follow this?
I would go to the next slide here. So we're going to talk about the water fund first. So we're moving on. We're at page 28. I can kind of hit it for the high point. You can answer some questions here for us. But we're proposing in our enterprise fund for water to increase the water and sewer fees due to a 3% increase in user fees. I got this information from the county manager related to where we get our water from, that they haven't increased their rates since 2014, and they plan on doing it 3% this year. They have not officially sent the letter yet, like they did for sewer, but it's coming. So I went ahead and put it into the budget. We can figure it out later, but it is a pass through, just like our sewer is for our water fees, and to not go up in 8 years is pretty strong. So in addition to that, we've also increased our growth by 7% as we continue to grow. So our flow capacities are listed there for our revenues. On the next slide goes into our expenditures.
Okay. Increase of 7% due to continued growth. Explain that. Maybe am I the only one that get that?
So Debbie, if you want to talk about the growth percentage that we built in for the amount of water we're going to buy. Page 29, we're talking 28.
28. Superintendent.
We're talking about the 7% due to the continued growth, like the new people coming online as the new.
Yeah, I couldn't unmute quick enough. Yeah, so the 7% growth is, there's 216 units will be coming online this year for the St. Joe.
Departments.
And then the building, just the building normal increase that I'm coming online. The expectation for that is not to slow down, but to speed up, I guess, or at least stay the same. So that's where that 7% we're come into, is that St. Joe property and single family homes.
Are we raising the water rate 7%?
No, this is just the revenue. This is we're increasing the revenues because we're increasing the usage. 3% rate.
Okay, I just need to read the thing, that's all. My bad.
I was on the same slide.
Got distracted. Okay.
It wasn't. I don't know what happened over there at the door. Sorry about that, but that is revenue. We're talking about money coming in.
I'm sorry. I'm with you.
On the next slide, 29, we're going into our expenditures. This would be related to personnel costs. So we've decreased the overall personnel cost by 5.54%. We reallocated some of the salaries to the general fund. My position, Debbie's position, Tammy's position. There's a lot of stuff split into the enterprise fund that didn't need to be going in there. So we're pulling all those out so that we can have a clean playing field and get our utilities to start moving forward. So that's the game plan. We don't need to put those salaries over there. So,
Debbie, how many times have we moved these salaries?
Well, didn't decrease it.
I actually, there's just no.
This is confusing.
My salary didn't even be in there. I took out mine. Debbie, go ahead, Debbie. Tell me what we took out. Otherwise, we have to increase the amount of revenue that we're gonna take in to cover that. It just doesn't make any sense to put any amount,
What you've done, you've taken some salary money out of the water fund and moved it someplace.
to the general fund, yeah, where it should be. I don't, the utility shouldn't be paying for that, and that's, I'm building this budget going forward, and I own that. And I think we can continue to pay back some of that debt, that we have between there, but not putting extra money over there unless we need to move it, but we don't. We pulled it, we pulled it out.
The budget's not being reduced by that, it's just being moved to a
You
different.
put, David, can you hear me?
Yes.
The moving of salaries within these departments seems to be a carousel. Do you recall how many times we've done this?
Yes. Well, when I was there,
Go ahead.
it was changed towards the end of my time, and then I believe it was changed even further when Adrian was the city clerk, and then I think it changed again after he may have left. So it's definitely been changed a few times, and the allocations have been changed, which is even,
We're just taking the
that
percentage
changes
out.
even another dynamic to it. So.
If I come back to you to move people into that, that's a different story. We're fixing it right now. We're gonna level the playing field. I don't, maybe you did it before, I don't know.
Everybody's level the playing field. I'm only confused because
People, I didn't need to be in there. My salary didn't need to be in there. Debbie's salary, I mean, hers sometimes.
are we satisfied, Doug and Debbie, that we have adjusted the salaries into the proper categories
Yes.
throughout these enterprise funds?
Yes, and we need to keep it that way. There's mistakes that happen. I mean, I found one of the trash truck drivers was somehow got moved over into that. I mean, I'm telling you, we have a handle on it.
I'm satisfied if y'all just say that you fixed it.
Yes, sir.
That's all.
I didn't have to.
Is there a sheet that shows who's where? Just
That would be nice to see.
Yeah,
But then again, that'd be confusing for me if it's, I'm like,
You don't need that.
I have it where it's been
Okay.
corrected.
Listen, I'm like, what'd you just say? Let's move, if they satisfied with it, I'm satisfied.
I just, the fact that you brought it up, I thought,
Well, the last budget, you had city administrative salary here, and you had some here, you had some here.
We had trash people that were moved to the sanitation department 2 years ago that were still paid out of the water department. I mean, vice versa, one way or another. I fixed it. So yes, sir, I got it. Move on. I'm sorry.
I got you.
All right, operating expenses increased is the next slide. The next part of that slide. So Bay County, we talked about the increase. Fuel costs, repairs and maintenance, capital. Here's a big one. We'll talk about capital. So Glenn, if you want to go over the items within the water fund for capital.
We're sure on the same page. I think you've already addressed the storage sheds.
Not yet. That was for public works. You asked for $5,000 to buy a storage shed for sewer and water. So you're going to share one, and 2,500's in water and 2,500's in sewer.
That is a good place. We do have a little bit more room than we did since they moved out the tower stuff in the water plant. We've still got a lot of stuff that needs to be put under shed. Be at discretion of the commission. That's something that is needed, but it's probably not at the top of my list, but it is needed.
what's at the top of your list?
Yeah.
Top of my list is lift station.
Well, we're on water right now.
Page 30.
A truck. We might need to look at a tractor, which is number 2, a diesel tractor. We've got it for Kubota. I think it's 10 years old. And from everything I can gather from the guys, it's a smaller one. I think it's 25 horse.
25 horsepower.
We were looking for a 40 horse and split $15,000 between water and sewer, and that may not get it. That may not. $15,000 may not get me something. So it depends on what else we move out or don't get. But that's high on his list is that tractor. That mini, is that the mini that
That's not
the mini, the other one that is?
Many still in production.
So I had $15,000 budget for that between water and sewer, and I'm hoping I can find some.
Not only that, but it's used throughout the department here, Public Works, and if anyone needs it, available to everybody, not just our department.
He also is, we got a couple free trucks that we're using from Tallahassee, I believe. Is that where two of them came from? We just put $2,700 into a transmission for one. We were looking to get a new utility body truck, which was $40,000 split between two departments. And then I got F-150 for $15,000 split between two departments. Maybe you want to consider giving me a dollar figure to buy a tractor, a truck, and a used truck.
How does this affect on the enterprise funds now? Start with telling us, are you suggesting any increase in rates?
Only passing through rates, the same rate, whatever they increase the
Okay,
rate.
so the rate schedule we have now supports these expenditures.
I have these built into it. This dollar figure. All that is built in for water and sewer. Well, sewer you'll see has more stuff, but that's built into the existing budget, built off of what we have to increase the rates by for Bay County. Not pulling money from reserves, if that's what you're asking. So it's all in the budget.
Just so you know, we have 3 vehicles in the utility department, 2 2015 and 1 2011, which is one I think we got from Tallahassee. One of them has about 89,000 miles, the other one about 66,000. 3 vehicles among 6 people is what we got.
And they had one put in the budget for last fiscal year, not the one we're in now, to buy, but they never bought it for whatever reason. Spent the money on something else, or somehow they didn't buy it.
The administrator wouldn't let them buy it.
Okay. So that's maybe we'll just get on to sewer. We'll come back and talk about the capital purchases altogether. But because they're both, everything that I'm asking for in the capital budget for sewer is also in the existing budget.
We don't need, let me just, this, for me, if the rates aren't changing, other than the pass-through for the wholesale water, the wholesale sewer, these budget, the only thing that's, if you would combine everything, it would be easier than this way. If you would combine water, sewer into one, sanitation's probably gonna have a separate need, but if you do those together, and there's no rate increase, then I think we would be easier for.
So let's just talk about the sewer then, and then we can talk about the capital altogether, because it's always split between the two.
Okay.
I'm gonna not talk about sanitation.
On that topic, is all of the things you're asking for are covered by the existing budget with no rate increase?
Except for one thing you're gonna see in the sewer.
Got it.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so moving on to the sewer department. All right, so revenues for the sewer fund, we're increasing the user fees by 3%. That's a pass-through from Bay County. We discussed that. We're also recognizing an increase in revenues of 7% due to continued growth, just like we did over in the water fund. I'm proposing that we use, at your discretion, the ARPA funds that we have existing to repair the Nanook lift station for retro improvements. That lift station is, he can explain it, but it is almost gone. It is not increasing capacity is my problem. It has to get fixed right there on Nanook. It's the wells are right on the road. I'll let him explain that to you. On the phase, we had
Explain that to us.
we had it looked at by Dewberry and go ahead.
Now that lift station,
More than I know.
no politics under this Smith sauce there. It's actually built up in the edge of the road.
Yeah.
Got manifold problems. There's a single phase station. You don't have a valve all, which means this, if you've got a station here, you've got a valve all outside. When you have a station malfunction, the valve all allows you to isolate that station, put an auxiliary pump there, pump to it on the discharge line side. And there's no place except we run just really shut down the road. If we have a malfunction, we have to put a bypass pump, because we got to run it from right up here where it's at, all the way up, several hundred feet. We talked with Jose from Dewberry. We looked into changing it to 3-phase, and I've got a document here. Will you make a copy of this for all them, Tom, if you don't mind? I've got a document here. Dewberry has said that just to go with single phase is not the best case. probably a minimum of $150,000. I see that's what it is. If we were to go to three-phase, it would just Duke Energy's part would be probably $150,000. So we took that out. That wasn't an option. But to go to single phase, we worked at 150. That's what I was looking at.
Is it damaged or is it old?
It's old.
Undersized, old.
Is that the one the alarm always goes off at the end of Paradise Path?
Yeah, all the time.
So the thought process is if I can get the ability to look forward in this, I think I can utilize the impact fees possibly for something, additional funding somehow for the municipal complex that we're going to build. We're going to we're going to be pulling that stuff over to our side of the road. So it's not going to work the way it is. It's not. And I think I could tie it in with however FEMA works it out later, but we can't shut down Paradise Path with a hose across of it because it's going to break, right? So it's just a matter of when. And that's,
So it can't support the additional growth of the new city hall?
I don't, go ahead.
The answer is no, because then you can use impact.
But that's what I say, but I'm not the professional. I say no, and I talked to David from Dewberry, and he's right, but he thinks we can call it additional growth and be able to use that.
Then the impact fees work.
But then Debbie says, we're not really at the point where we're using additional growth yet, because we're not caught up to where we used to be. So I'm
But y'all will work that out.
We will.
I think they're
Y'all will
fine.
work that out.
I mean, if the capacity is shown to be growth, then yeah, we need some funds.
She's right.
Whatever
She's not arguing with me, she's working with me. So
We understand.
So I'd like to use ARPA money to pay for that in the short term to figure out what we're going to do, or at least set it aside so that we know, so we don't spend it 3 or 4 more times before we figure out what we need to do.
Now, this is that projected money.
I was talking about the money we already sitting on. We're still sitting on $200,000, Debbie.
214,000 and 25, $2,014.25.
And we
That's what
expect,
we gotta have, man. This doesn't sound like a,
it's a need.
To me, one little bit, the three-phase is a lot better than the single phase. And if we're gonna spend the money, then I think we need to go ahead and get the three-phase. And I know you kind of said like, Duke, I believe we could work with them. You could work with them. Get the three-phase. I think we had some problems when we finally got it. Three-phase system is a lot cheaper to run. The initial setup might not be, but it's a lot better equipment, better motors than a single phase.
We have 9 that are not that way. I agree, but it's got a big price tag. Maybe that's something that we can utilize the combination of money. If we contribute 150 ARPA money and the rest of it's from either impact fees to get to that 3 phase, maybe that's functional.
And if we're not increasing rates,
We're not.
see, that's why I don't want to get bogged down. If the rate doesn't change, we need.
I just have to present it. It's my first time with this with you guys.
I understand. And I'm-
You're very patient, trust me.
I'm trying to be,
Probably it's making copies of everything they've got. And I apologize, I didn't of course.
Well, I'm
They
not
probably don't want it by now.
That's okay. I think,
All right.
all right, so where are we now?
I'm going to go to page 33, and I'm going to start talking about the expenses real fast. So the personnel costs increased by 3.7%, so this is different. It has the increase in salaries in there, but it's also covered under the existing rate, not changing the budget. All right, so I just have to make that clear. Operating expenses increased, Bay County, the treatment increase of 3%. Fuel costs, repairs, additional vehicles. So we got to talk about additional vehicles, but other than that, that's where the expenditures go from. It's mostly repairs and maintenance. It's about what we spend on our. So the capital on the next page, page 34, and Glenn can, I'll kind of go through it real quick and he can add anything he needs here, but we talked about a storage shed, which is a total of $5,000, right? And that's shared between water and sewer. The trailer
What
mounted,
page you on?
34.
Okay, I'm with
The one that we haven't spoke about yet is the trailer mounted bypass pump, $45,000. We have one. Troy fixes it every week. We need to get another one going somehow or another, and that's what he uses when we have an overflow. Go ahead.
We've actually had a nightmare with that. We've got a couple of stations also that I think we're gonna probably repair through repair and maintenance, not capital outlay items, you know, but these bypass diesel pumps, they are critical to us maintaining system, keeping having sanitary sewer overflows until we can, you know, get the lift stations back to where they should be. We do have the one up to get it fixed, but another one would really put us in a lot better position as far as being able to maintain, because it bring you back for just a minute, and I'm not trying to rub a sore, but you know, at one point in time, we had, I think it was 5 bypass pumps. Right there in the city, $2,200 a month. And so I'm just trying to bring y'all up to speed. This is really something that we really need.
And it could happen real fast for us. So we have that $45,000 in the sewer fund without raising the rates. I don't want to say that again, but that's built into this budget to buy that as part of that. The trash pump, which is $5,000.
See, that's an operational, to me, that's just an operational.
But it's over $750. I mean, that's our capital expenditure.
Oh, I don't mind you showing it.
Okay.
That's not what I'm saying.
I didn't
I'm just
mean-
saying, we can't offer water, sewer, and sanitation without equipment and without keeping the pumps and all that stuff working.
If we can afford it, I think we should
That's
buy
right.
it. And that's where we are right now.
That's your call. See, that's gonna be part of that budget. That's what you manage.
Trash pump is $5,000. Currently, we don't have one that can stay up and running enough to suck out all the mess that we have. Oh, he had it called a mud hog, and I changed it to trash pump.
Good. We didn't know what it was. You left.
I'm sorry. It just looks like some kind of slang word, man. I thought trash pump was just as bad.
That's in the spirit of things, so you understand. There was a 2-inch ball at some time prior to me getting here. It won't do the job. The guys told me at 3 or 4 would do the job. We priced and we think we can get one for that. And I said, because the 2-inch just stops up. I mean, we spend all our time
Keeping it unclogged.
Yeah.
So we're down to the 40 horsepower diesel tractor, the backhoe bucket that we're looking for. It's $15,000 total, split between water and sewer. We put in an F-250 4-wheel drive truck as a new one, total of $40,000 between both water and sewer, and then $15,000 for a used F-150 4-wheel drive truck. So if you, that outlays everything between water and sewer.
I think that new one was, we priced it state contract price. So.
The 4-wheel drive, I know that's nothing without it, to see.
Hey, Debbie.
Debbie?
Yes.
Okay. I just have a question. From years of, since we've been on the water and sewer, it has been said multiple times that the more customers we get, the less likely that we can maintain our rate schedule because there's strength in numbers. Is that where that 7% come? When you say we're increasing our revenue, is that because of our increase in customers?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I know. Sorry, Glenn.
No problem.
All right, thank you.
So we'd be looking between water and sewer. I mean, how do you want to hear it? Just water or sewer or both together? Total number that I can afford
I
to
want to
do.
hear that we don't raise the rates.
Yeah,
These are operational expenses to be.
So everything I asked for, with the exception of the $150,000 for Nando, which we're going to use, I'm recommending ARPA funds for, is concluded in the water and sewer budget for those capital outlay programs.
Did anybody got any, want to talk about it or pick that apart or do anything with it?
If we got money, let's move on.
When you're looking at it, really vehicles and personnel is what we really need to concentrate on. Just at the end.
And if we're balancing already, increase will
So just the last question, just to clarify, if so there's 2 vehicles between water and sewer that we're asking for, a total of $55,000. Do you want to say $55,000 gets you what you get, just like you said before, or do you want to say a new truck and a used truck? I just want to.
55,000 gets you what you want.
In this case,
In the best interest of the city, I understand.
it doesn't matter where you put it in the budget, it's gonna be a capital item.
Yeah.
You have to just identify it.
And if we get more money because we grew faster than we planned, maybe it's 60.
If you choose to put 50 in sewer and 50 in water, who cares? We just want the
The
number.
enterprise funds does have got to pay for themselves, and they have to be, the effect to us as elected officials, has been, my mindset is, if I try to sell it, we gotta raise the rate because of things we want.
We're not doing that, so.
If we aren't doing that, then I don't have anything to sell, and they wanna know that we're keeping our systems up and that they're operational. That's all.
All right, so with that, unless Glenn has something else to add,
Don't have anything,
except for the plumber and electrician, you did all right.
I would like to have a bag like Miss Catherine.
I'll ask for that.
Tommy's already beat you on that, but hey, he still doesn't have
Yeah, I said what I got.
Okay, so
So speaking, yes, sir.
real quick, I think you might have said it. What was the number from sewer from the county to pass it through? Do you know?
3%.
3% increase?
The 3% increase on the rates is a pass-through.
What is it, about 8 cents a thousand or something?
I don't know that. Debbie, do
It
you
doesn't
know?
matter. Move along.
I can get a copy of the letter to you or something. The question was, do you know what it is, the 3% increase to the user, like for the sewer per gallon or?
Nobody get it real quick.
No, don't worry about
We'll
it.
go on to sanitation and you can, if you find it, let us know. Okay? Tommy, you're the last one up here, sanitation fund.
Save the best for last.
Best for last. All right, so I'm gonna hurry Tommy up and you can ask some questions to him. So, the first question, which you've asked several times related to water and sewer, I'm recommending a 3% increase in sanitation services. That's for the city, that's a city number. It's talking about $10.68 a year. The last time you raised it 10% in 2017. And we are taking a lot of trash. Gas costs a lot, trucks cost a lot, people cost a lot. I'm talking 89 cents a month increase to the resident for the sanitation service to maintain all the stuff that I've asked, anything that I've asked for in here going forward. That's a 3% rate. So we can
it.
talk.
See what you asked for.
So we're looking at a 10% overall increase to user fees, which includes the growth, 7% also in continued growth, and then a 89 cents a month or $10.68 increase per residential user for sanitation services. A year, $10 a year.
And that would include the 2 dumpsters that we have presently, one at the boat ramp and one over on 7th Street.
That the city supplements that cost right now. The next thing is a new revenue. So I'm recommending a new revenue. So this new trash truck has brought some abilities to the city that has made me think about, as an enterprise business, how we start making a little bit of money and keep things going better and also improve the services to our residents. So I propose buying 500 new dumpsters at $50,000 out of the sanitation fund and sell, excuse me, I said dumpsters, I meant those rolling cart, 90-gallon rolling carts that we can use the new tipper on the back of the dump truck. I'm tired, I'm sorry. The trash truck to tip it into the back. And we would sell those to the residents at either a cost of $135 up front. They would have the Mexico Beach logo on them. And then, or rent them to them at $10 a month added to the bill, depending on what they want to do. If it breaks, if it falls apart, we replace it with another one. If they're one of those people, every time we sell one, we buy another one. We do like the rest of the businesses in the world with their trash service. If we're going to maintain our trash service, I think it's the right thing to do. We can make a little bit of money on it. We're not gouging anybody.
You're new here, Doug.
I feel like I'm at Shark Tank sitting here right now. You know how you're at the Shark Tank show?
You would feel that way if you sat where some of us have sat when it comes to trash.
On the 10% rate increase in 2017?
I've been told so many times, don't mess about the sanitation.
Well, we offer a premium service. We go basically inside their kitchen and get their trash cans some places.
You know why we do that? If you thought about, have you asked why we do that? Have you asked that?
Well, I think it's just to provide a better service because
That's because that's what those people out there want. We didn't do that.
I'm not talking about getting rid of it. That's for sure.
Well, if you put those damn rolling big cans out there, you get rid of it.
I mean, we could still go get it. We're planning on getting a few roller cans and going to the back and dumping it in So the dolly cans have a couple different things to them, Mayor. They have the ability to lock them to be bear proof. They have.
I don't want to cut it short, but you
Okay.
have been here.
You're right.
The conference just had been.
No.
Dumpsters are out. I mean, rolling carts are out.
What we have, people are paying for, and that's what they want. Okay? I mean, I'm.
You're right. I haven't been here. I haven't sat through that
I'm
conversation.
trying to tell you, you haven't been here.
I'm done talking about it. I'm on.
Mayor, can I ask you a question to make sure we're okay with this moving forward? I have had people call me in the last week, want to know about buying their own, if we would pick them up. And I told them, my thing
That's
with
not what the
that,
ordinance says, Tom.
You can't have anything over 30 gallons.
Now, if we want to get into the trash debacle that it can turn into again, we can do that. But the ordinance wasn't written by this government, it was written by those people in those chairs. So if we want to bring that up again, we can do it. And we can make it an agenda item, and we can go, because it's covered by ordinance. It's not covered by budget, it's covered by the people that want it, how they want the service. So if we want to do that, y'all can decide that and put it on the agenda. I would recommend against it, but if you want to do it, then do it.
All right. I'll come,
he just ain't been there.
I'll come back another time. Maybe.
I'd come again later.
I've just cut the dumpster rolling cart, so we'll continue the service that we have to offer.
We're still okay with the rating?
Well, you tell me when we get to that point. Personnel costs have been decreased. Here's the reason why. I know I talked about moving people around, but we get a service from those sanitation guys. So in the past, they worked, let's call it 410s, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. On Wednesdays, they had a day off. We stopped that when I got here. Tommy had them work out where they can work 5/8 on Wednesday. The reason we get so much stuff around this town is because those sanitation guys. They get in a truck, they go weed eat, they go pour concrete, they go whatever you want them to do all day on Wednesday. And when they get done with the route on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So I'm taking 20% of their salary and moving it into the general fund, right? Because they're doing general maintenance work. So that helps us there. And otherwise it's a nightmare for time cards or something like that. So that's the right thing to do that. So just so you know, that's one thing that I did that allows us to not have to.
That's a whistle.
I think it's a saw or something somebody's cutting.
okay.
I got one of those alert bay things. You're right.
Okay. We fixed mine, fixed it all. Go ahead.
Please.
All right.
That's not me.
So I've adjusted the salaries for those. The operating supplies is out of the trash bins.
No, excuse me. Slow you down now. You're getting.
I'm sorry. I was trying to speed up.
20% of sanitation salaries, and put it in the general fund. Explain that while we're doing it.
Because they're doing work for the general fund 20% of the time. More than 20%.
We now have gone, are we analyzing every position and time carding them based on their work?
Right now we do. We have to now because if somebody comes from general maintenance who is like James, he has to fill in on the trash truck. We have to move his time card to get paid out of sanitation fund for those 8 hours. And if he does it a couple days in a row, we have to monitor that. We'd have electronic time card systems to do that now. I propose, those guys 100% are not doing work on Wednesday for sanitation. That is pay it out of the general fund. We have the money in the general fund to cover it. It also allows us to maintain the same rate of pay for the users. So if we delete the...
What if you didn't do that? Then we couldn't maintain the rate.
Right, we're over. So,
But we're still raising the rate a little bit.
I propose 3%, but we can cut that too. The only expense that I have added in here is for 6 dumpsters for $10,000, which 9 of them are needed for St. Joe apartment complex that we have to pay for. So we can't. There's no impact fees for that. The circle.
And we do that every year. In the past budgets, we've added for the new dumpsters. Yeah, old ones, it's rusted out. That's nothing new.
So we're doing that. The fuel cost, the tipping fees. It's a business that grows with cost of living, right? So with that, if I remove the dumpster fees, we don't have to pay for the $50,000. Debbie, correct me if I'm wrong. If you can look into that, if we can afford to keep the rates the same. I can bring you back. I got your direction already, so I can look at whether I have to raise the rate or not. I'm already not having to have the dumpster, so that $50,000 that I was planning on for that goes back into the sanitation fund. So that helps cover the traffic.
Besides that again.
I would. I see that. I read. I got you. I hadn't been here. You told me I hadn't been here.
It's justifying the rate just by the fueling cost, I mean, that small amount.
It's a business.
Yeah.
That's
We're
right.
not here to lose money.
That's right.
We won't get anything back for the 6 new dumpsters that's going out here. I mean, we don't.
It'd be increased user fees.
We get $100 on
Yeah,
Saturday,
you
Sunday.
for them
I gotta pay overtime.
Yeah.
They don't know. I mean, that's just.
But we don't get any, they don't pay them, we furnish that.
But it will. That will be an
But
income.
we'll get some
Some
revenue from it,
revenue.
yeah.
We're gonna have to drag all that stuff to the tipping fees, you know what I mean?
Let's talk a minute about tipping fees. Tommy, I know y'all researched this, we got Steelfield, which is forever over there. I don't even know.
3 hours.
3.5 hour trip from the time they leave here till they get Panama City.
And then we
Beach.
got, we working in, we
We
able to
take
do
it-
a little in St. Joe.
Yes,
We're
from
more
North
St.
St.
Joe
Joe
now.
now.
Tipping fees more.
Typically
Saves us
more,
on
but the fuel cost is way less, and it's about a 40-minute trip to St. Joe and back.
And the truck doesn't get the miles and the wear and tear. And, I mean, the math works out for St. Joe, so we're going to St. Joe right now. because
Let
of
me
gas.
tell you what's not on your list for sanitation. Is any reserve money.
No, there was nothing left over. So but I
We
when I
gotta have to buy another truck, man.
when I come back, so there's money from the
That's where that $50,000 ought to go, in my opinion. If we don't, we've been here with this sanitation thing. And if we don't run it like a business, if we don't put money aside for a truck, we're gonna come up and say, well,
We're already-
now we need $300,000 to buy a truck.
We're already in that boat. I mean, until the brand new one is trying to get the title done today so we can drive it tomorrow. I mean, Troy was out there this morning fixing the
You
seals.
need a reserve truck account.
I got it.
And something else to think about, Mayor, and I talked to Doug about this, and probably starting next year, once St. Joe comes online, we're gonna get to the point where we're gonna run 3 trucks instead of 2. You're gonna have enough trash to-
Exactly, that's
to run
gonna
3
happen. Those
trucks
guys,
instead of 2.
they're gonna have to have employees, but now,
That's right.
That's growth.
that's growth, and we're gonna be able to find,
And we're fine for the next year or so, but after that, we're gonna need to make sure that we
that,
budget
gotta
for
have,
3
that,
more
that department's
employees.
got to
and-
have a reserve.
That's right.
And I'll work on the numbers.
That's why it goes in this budget, it has to be in this.
Should be,
For the prior, for next year.
We used to do every 3 years buy a truck, right?
everything.
And are we still doing that?
Well, we had since the
We
storm.
fell out of, everything, I mean, the truck fell out, everything
I
fell
got some
out.
pictures of them around here.
So we got the first new one
So
last
it's the
week.
first new one, so that we need to
First new
keep
one.
contributing.
We
that
gotta,
third and
we
third
gotta
and
have a
third.
reserve truck account if we're gonna stay in sanitation business.
That's 195,000. So we, you know,
That's a bigger truck.
It is a bigger truck.
25-yard truck,
It's
still
it's nice.
So please, put that in your,
So when I come back, I'll work on a way to do some sanitation reserves. I'll fix the salary issue. I'll let you know what we have to do with the rates, and I'll bring that back. I understand. I like the idea
we're
of
not
saving
gonna
for
solve it
80 days.
all sitting right here.
We do have possibility of some ARPA money. If we needed to slide some money into that account, we can do that for sanitation. So I'll
We
come
gotta
back.
be a little creative.
I'll come back to it. All right, so bottom line is sanitation, the only increase really was the dumpsters, and we have to have that, so I'll bring that all back to the bigger picture. The last slide goes into the overall numbers. Slide 38 shows you, and you're done, Tom, if you want to be done, maybe.
Thank you.
Spin, I can tell.
He wore us out.
Been a long day.
Yeah, you did very, I mean, your perception of where we need to be is, I'm very appreciative. I think we as a council, this is, I think we can follow what you're doing and where we're going, and we track the money. We gotta live within our means. That's just, that's hard for government to do that. It is.
You're right. Print money on one side of the paper.
We all have our, somebody's gonna say, well, we need this, and before long, somebody's gonna think, well, we gotta have that. I mean, that's just the way it is. But we gotta remember, that tax thing is, hopefully, if you massage this, you can come back and say, you know, we can really do 6.5 million. Maybe.
I think you know, from what we decided to cut today, we're, you know, that's $553,000, just so you know.
Right.
That is a whole mill. So half of that's, you know, the 200. I can do that. I can do that.
We need to work toward that.
Let me.
But we can't just sell the public, because they don't want to pay any more than they have to. But they want the services. So that we gotta balance that out and say, look, here's what we can do for you. And if they don't like it, then somebody else will be sitting here.
But the big thing that you did do today is you gave some direction related to our vehicles. And you understand the correlation between saving money on maintenance and repairs and getting a better vehicle for the better product. So that's going to help also. So I think we've got a good vision going forward. I'll present you back with 6.5 mils so that we show what we've got for that increased property value. So I'll bring it back to you. I think our next meeting, Tammy, the next
Tammy,
meeting.
when do we meet again?
July the 21st?
So that's a month. They moved it to the second, right? The 26th.
So I have the same thing.
I got it.
Debbie, the next council meeting or the next budget meeting?
Yeah, so the 26th is the next optional date. Or they can do it the 20, well, no, we took it away the 26th, but
That's a council meeting in the
if we
morning.
have to have another workshop after that, then it has to be before August 3rd. So,
Let's just stick with the 26th, guys, right after the meeting. It'll be a shorter presentation because you've heard all the stuff. I'll come back and show you what we cut, what we
We're good with
added.
that?
Can we do it in one meeting, one more meeting? We can do it, right?
Well, I think once we've done.
You did a lot today.
Yeah.
You did a lot
Yeah, I
today.
think we can.
I got a lot of direction.
Bring us back a condensed version of what it does, digest that, and
I got you.
I think you can run through it without a PowerPoint.
Right, we don't have to. Yeah, I handle that. I think, that, and we have that one backup if we do need it.
So we're gonna meet after the council meeting on the 26th.
Yeah. For 10 minutes.
You're gone on that day? Are you gone?
But I'm gonna be back. I'm coming back to that.
You want to do it the next day or something? When are you back? Are you going all week?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Well, we just have to
The weekend first.
get it to Rich to look at, or whatever.
Would you call in or would you?
I can call in, sure.
We can do that for the workshop. Would you call?
Sure, workshop, you call him.
So we'll still shoot for that date if that's what everybody else wants to do.
So don't ask Clint.
One quick question, if I may.
Excuse me?
One quick question, if I may.
Yeah, hang on just a minute. Go ahead, Deb.
I just want to clarify. So on this next workshop, we have to have the mill rate ready to be proposed and dates that we're going to have our first public hearing. So that'll be discussed at that next workshop too, just to make sure, because we have to return that to the proper.
But we can always come down, you can't go up.
Correct.
Exactly.
Okay, so we just need to remember
As
that.
possible. Right.
Yeah, you can always lower whatever we decide on the millage, you can come down, you can't go up, so we just need to be cautious of that at the next meeting. Go ahead.
So the citywide budget total is proposed 2.5 times more than what we are now? Aren't we at 3.5 million now? So,
That was
am I
general.
reading that correctly?
3.498 was general.
This says everything, including the enterprise in it. That 3.5 doesn't have the
Was
enterprise.
just the general, okay, thank you.
Just one.
And that got raised to 3.98, whatever, but now it's 4.9.
Okay.
We also have fund balance money that drops down after last year. We'll have that information for you to look at too. Anything you don't want to take with you, leave with me, and I'll shred up and get rid of. But other than that,
One thing that didn't get presented, and if you would, Debbie, if you would, and you can send it out, I just want to see it, the dedicated fund about money.
I had that as a slide and took it. I thought it was too much information.
Just, you can send it out, and can you make a copy,
I'll give it to you right now. It was what she presented at the June meeting. She's actually on the agenda for July 26th to present her report.
then I'll wait till then. I'll wait till then.
But I can give you a hard copy of this right now if you want.
Those funds can show something that never got discussed today about what we could do with them.
I'll give you a adjourned yet. I'm sorry, I couldn't get a copy. But the only thing that I discussed today was about taking some paving and maintenance money, and you canceled that. And then, that was it, other than the ARPA money, we discussed
Well,
150.
here, and I say that, Doug, in that we have to be as creative as possible to find something besides adding more tax dollars, so to speak.
That's what I'm gonna
Sometimes
work
that's not easy to do.
That's what I'm gonna work on.
It's not, but sometimes you'd be surprised, these budget numbers could look different if we at least explore where we can use those. money.
I agree, 100%.
Because some of those monies are replenishable funds, remember?
Like
they-
the boat launch money, yes,
Yeah,
sir.
all that stuff, I mean, we can, big circle.
Good bit there.
Bigger circle, like that.
All right, motion for adjournment.
Thank you,
Thank
John.
everybody for coming. Good job.